The Leadoff Man is brought to you by ChicagoSports.com. Try to keep up.
Chiefs don't down out beautiful Wrigley Field. And when you're a role player, you don't get a chance to start all that often. So when you do get a chance to start, you really want to make it a special occasion. And that's exactly what Jeff Houston did in this last road trip. Jeff, he had 7 hits, including 4 in one game, which was a personal high. And how do you keep yourself in shape and ready to go and keep your timing?
That's the hardest part about the job is no matter how much running you do, lifting, whatever, it doesn't simulate game conditions. And actually, after I played 2 games in a row in San Diego, I was pretty sore Monday, and Don came and said, how do you feel? I said, well, to be honest with you, a little sore. But I'm not going to ask out of the lineup, obviously. That's one of the first things you learn as a utility guy whenever you get a chance to play, you have to play.
You are playing today, and certainly on that road trip, you showed your versatility, and you showed Don Baylor that you can contribute. So as far as you at 36 years of age, or coming up on 36, how long do you want to play?
That's a question now that I think at the end of every year, I sit back and ask my wife and kids and see how they feel, because they're the ones that have to stay back home. You got the kids in school and so forth, and just to make sure that what I'm doing is not disrupting my family life, because that comes first for me. And if they say, we're doing okay, you can still play, then I'll try to play some more. But if at any point they say, no, we like you home, Dad, then that's it.
Well, Jeff, you wait right here and stay with us, because we'll be back with more with Jeff Houston after these messages. And last year, Jeff Houston hit .262 with the California Angels, yet it wasn't good enough to get another contract. So this year, Jeff, after a tough start, now you are contributing. And what do you have to show a manager to be asked back to a baseball team and get another contract?
Obviously, I don't know the answer to that question, because it hasn't happened in about 5 or 6 years. The last time I was any place for more than 1 year was in 1995 and 96. I was in Baltimore. So it's one of those things that I don't know the answer, to be honest with you. I have a good relationship with Don, and that's part of the reason why I'm here. I think everybody knows that. And it's just something that I think that they look to see, what else you do while you're sitting on the bench, if you're helping the young guys, or if you're mad because you're not playing, or what it is. And I'm to that point in my career now where it's no longer just about me, or if I'm playing, or my ego, or anything like that. Is I try to help some of the young guys along the way and say, in this situation you might need to do this, or hey, it's the 5th inning, let's go get loose, and so they're not caught off guard.
Do you have a favorite position? I know you've been starting at third base, and I know you can play just about everywhere. Where would you prefer to play?
I would prefer to play second base. That's a position that I feel the most comfortable at. I came up as a shortstop, but I've played a lot of second base lately, and that's the place right now where I feel the most comfortable. To go in order, it'd be second, short, and then third.
We've seen your son as the bat boy a few times. What kind of a thrill is that for him?
That's a great thrill. Anytime that you can come to the field, especially Wrigley Field, and be a bat boy, and he goes home now, and his kids back home go, I saw you on TV and stuff like that. So I had to tell him, well, okay, you're not famous yet, but you keep doing it, and he just enjoys it. It's just a thrill for him, just like it would be any kid.
This is a huge homestand coming up. 3 with Cincinnati, 3 with St. Louis, and what's the attitude of the Cub ball club at this point?
It's really good. I think that win the other night in extra innings in LA really gave us a boost with the off day yesterday. To know that you have 6 games, it really means something in August. And for some of us, that hasn't happened in a long time. And that's a great thrill. Who knows what we're going to do with it, but the feeling is right now that we're close.
Well, keep it going. You've done a great job. And stay with us, because we'll have a look at the scores from yesterday. Then we'll be back with the starting pitchers after these messages. Bell. He's a hard-throwing right-hander. He's got a good curveball, and we saw him early in the season in Cincinnati. Since then, it's been up and down for him. He does have good velocity. He's out of the Atlanta Braves organization. They're famous for pitchers, but I think the Cubs can take advantage of his control today. Kevin Tapani going to the mound for the Cubs, and Tap's been throwing the ball exceptionally well. This is very much a pitcher's day and a huge game as far as the Cubs are concerned. It's the first of a 6-game homestand where we see the Reds and St. Louis, two teams that we have to catch. So I know it's going to be exciting, and stay tuned for baseball.
Guests on the leadoff man receive a handsome piece.
Well, it's the biggest homestand of the year to this point, and it all begins today. Game one of a 3-game set between the Cubs, who are surging, and the Cincinnati Reds, who are in front of us in second place in the National League Central Division. A huge crowd gathering on a gorgeous Friday afternoon in Chicago, and we're glad you are with us today on WGN Sports. And hello again, everybody, along with Steve Stone, Chip Carey. Welcome back to Wrigley Field, where the Cubs and Reds hook up, and pennant fever is gripping the city of Chicago.
It was a great end to the road trip as far as the Cubs are concerned, and they're hoping to duplicate the homestand of last time. As you can see, over the last 13 games, last homestand was terrific, and on the road, yes, a losing record, but the guys hit a little better, and as far as runs per game, they did a whole lot better. So hopefully the bullpen can start to come alive, and as you can see, the Cubs 8.5 games in back of St. Louis, just 3 games in back of Cincinnati. That makes this particular 6-game homestand even that more important.
The Cubs on July the 7th were 16.5 games out of first place. The Cubs have gained 8 games in the standings, and with 3 against the Reds, 3 more coming up with the Cardinals, certainly things looking very good for the Cubs at this point, but you have to go between the white lines and get it done. And with that in mind, you have to somehow find a way for the Cubs to stop Ken Griffey Jr. and the Reds to stop Sammy Sosa.
Anytime these two teams hook up, the focus on these two guys, and as you can see against Kevin Tapani, Griff has been pretty good. But against Rob Bell, Sammy Sosa has done very little. And against the Reds have held him down. And take a look at Rob Bell and Kevin Tapani. Tapani has been brilliant in his last couple of starts. In fact, you can almost guarantee he's going to get into the 8th inning. And as far as Bell is concerned, he's thrown well against the Cubs. However, he's walked 50 guys in 88 2/3 innings. And hopefully the Cubs can take advantage of that lack of control today.
And Steve, this is a Cincinnati team that's really struggling in the year 2000. And the main culprit has not been an ineffective ball club, but an injury-riddled team. Last year they won 96 games, didn't suffer a significant injury by any one of their stars. They've been banged up all year long.
No Eddie Taubensee. This one he didn't even make the trip, and Aaron Boone is lost for the year, and so they filled in. But Chris Stein's done a very nice job at third base. He's hitting over 350. And LaRue is behind the plate. He doesn't hit like Taubensee, but he's a very good defensive catcher. And so the Reds, like most teams at this point, kind of banged up. Cubs aren't going to feel sorry for him, however. They got to take advantage of them, and hopefully they can win 2 or 3 of 3.
That would be nice. Cubs getting healthy, too. Joe Girardi back in the lineup after being hit in the face by Woody Williams out in San Diego. He says he's ready to go, feels very good, and hopefully his teammates will fare the same today. It's the Cubs and the Reds, and first our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by
The ballpark today as the Cubs get back from their western trip to San Diego and Los Angeles. And that's the way the Central Division shapes up as you see the division standing flags fluttering high atop the Wrigley Field scoreboard. The Cardinals lead the Reds, who lead the Cubs, but things figure to get an awful lot tighter here in the next 6 days. 3 with Cincinnati, then 3 with St. Louis.
The Cubs right now look like a very confident baseball team, and certainly the last game of the road trip was a confidence builder. You go into extra innings on the road, a game that looked like they won, then a game looked like they weren't going to win, and eventually coming out on top. You have to figure that this team is sky high for what they know is the most important 6 games of the season.
And the Cubs have come charging out of the gates since the 7th of July. At that point, the Cubs reached their low water mark, 18 games below 500, but have won 20 of 29 since and have cut 8 games off the Cardinal lead in that stretch of time. But now we can't worry about the Red Birds. Let's worry about the Reds first and their very potent starting lineup. Chris Steins leads things off at third base, and wouldn't you know it, Barry Larkin is healthy again and is back to haunt us here at Wrigley Field. He'll hit second. Ken Griffey Jr. is in center field. Dante Bichette, the cleanup man, is in right. Sean Casey's picked it up since the All-Star break. He's at first base. Dimitri Young is in left. Pokey Reese in a slump since a red-hot April. Jason LaRue, the catcher, hits 8th. And Young, Mr. Bell, will pitch and bat 9th for Cincinnati.
And there's the Pepsi defense for Don Baylor and the Cubs. White, Buford, and Sosa left to right. Houston, Gutierrez, Young, and Grace in the infield. Joe Girardi back behind the plate, and it's good to see Joe back. And Kevin Tapani on the hill looking for his 9th win, and this his 25th start. Lifetime against the Reds. He's 3-3. The ERA 4.12 in 10 games. This year he's faced them twice. He's 1-0. The ERA 3.07. He faced them in Cincinnati back on April 8th. And here at Wrigley Field on May 21st. And he threw a gem here at Wrigley Field. Went 8 2/3 innings, gave up a couple of runs on 10 hits. Right now, Tapani is throwing as good a changeup as just about anybody in the league. And he's had a lot of these National League hitters way out in front of everything he's thrown. And last time out, no exception to what he's done recently, he was brilliant against the Padres.
In fact, Kevin's given up only 1 run in his last 13 1/3 innings over 2 starts. And even more importantly for Kevin, he has not given up a home run in that stretch. And he's surrendered 30 on the season.
Well, there's a look at John Lieber, who's been a workhorse. And unfortunately, Kerry Wood probably going to miss a little more time than they thought he was going to miss. The oblique muscle, a very difficult one to heal for either a pitcher or a hitter. And unfortunately, there's no timetable on Kerry's return, but you know they're going to err on the side of caution when it comes to Kerry Wood. And so a flip-flop in the pitching rotation. It'll be Daniel Garibay tomorrow and Ruben Quevedo on Sunday.
So Chris Steins leads things off, and Kevin Tapani pumps a quick strike over. 0-1. Jerry Meals, our home plate umpire. He'll call the balls and strikes on an absolutely glorious Friday afternoon in Chicago. 77 degrees. Winds out of the northeast blowing in at 12 miles per hour.
When Aaron Boone was lost for the season with reconstructive knee surgery, Chris Steins stepped in, and he's done nothing but hit the baseball.
1-1 to Steins, who has those happy feet in that batter's box. He's all over the place, isn't he?
Well, he's known as an offensive player. He's had some problems defensively at third base, but he can hit.
That one is cut on and missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Cardinals are in Milwaukee tonight, and then they'll bust down. In fact, the Reds and Cardinals will pass each other heading to and from Milwaukee at the conclusion of this weekend's play. The Reds, 3rd best batting average in the National League as a team at .274. And the big question in Cincinnati, is this the final dance for Jack McKeon? Manager of the year last season. Got a 1-year contract for this season. A tapper toward Houston at 3rd. Quick release, and Steins is down for out number 1. Again, last year the Reds won 96 ball games.
And how soon they forget. It's pretty much a what have you done for me lately type of profession. Jack McKeon has been around long enough to know that You take it game by game, week by week, sometimes month by month for a while, and not a lot of people thought that he would make it through this year. Well, he is going to make it through this year, and then the question will be, who does Jim Bowden want to lead his team in the future? And Jim is on this trip.
Here's Barry Larkin, and Larkin takes a strike. It's been a tumultuous year for the perennial Cub killer. Thought he was going to be traded. Turned down a deal that would have made him a New York Met. Then at the 11th hour, 59th minute, and 59th second, he got the 3-year contract for the dollars he was looking for.
You've got to believe that the people in Cincinnati are most excited that he's still going to be a Red. They want to see him finish his career as a Red. And it looked for a while like both of those guys might be wearing different uniforms.
And that one hit high in the air down the left field line. Rondell White will have a play on it. And that takes care of Barry Larkin, and that's out number 2. Don't want to hit it high in the air today because this ballpark becomes a cavernous place.
You see the wind blowing straight in. 77 degrees at game time. Wind out of the northeast at 12 miles an hour. And if you hit the ball above the stands, it's going to knock anything down.
Well, here's Junior. He's hit safely in 17 of 18. With 18 RBIs and 3 home runs in that span, and has a 9-game hitting streak coming into today's ball game. And believe it or not, Junior has a chance to finish with more runs batted in than hits this year. There's only one other man that's done that. Mark McGwire last year drove in 147 and had 145 hits for the Cardinals.
Junior got off to such a slow start that the Reds are happy that average-wise things are coming around at the right time. And you see the 3 infielders on the right side, with Gutierrez playing on the first base side of second.
And that's in for a strike. 1-2. When Junior's at his best, he makes the shift irrelevant because he sprays the ball all over the ballpark. When we saw the Reds earlier, he was trying to pull everything.
Well, as you can see, still hitting much more to right field, but they're inviting him to punch the ball at shortstop and take away his power.
Took a shot at left that time and skies it out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Casey got off to a tough start, but that's because he was injured. He's swinging the bat well now, however. And they don't know how long it took for Sean Casey to come back from that thumb injury. They knew he got back in about a month, but he wasn't swinging the bat real well before the All-Star break.
And he broke that thumb in the last game of spring training. A very, very tough loss for the Reds to endure. Again, this is a team that won 96 games, had wonderful clubhouse chemistry. It was a team that, however, did not suffer a single significant injury all year long. And when you have that kind of year, there's only one way to describe it: magic.
And that's why you have to take advantage of it, and they certainly did last year.
2-2 to Griffey. And that one hit high in the air down the right side. Young and Grace. Can anybody make a play on that one? EY can't. It pops off his glove, and he hits that wall hard. Yeah, you heard EY say, "Hey, you're supposed to help me over there." The Reds bullpen's not going to.
He's going to get a lot of help over in that Reds bullpen. He comes over. The wind is taking this away. EY sees exactly where he is, and as the ball hit off the glove, that's going to go as no play. Unfortunately, nobody's hurt. So Junior gets another swing on the house.
That's not a real good idea to give this guy second chances. Bases clear with 2 out. Hey, there's that change. Tampany has had a good one. And Junior goes down swinging. Reds fail to score. Here come the Cubs looking to draw first blood. Cincinnati fails to score in the top of the first, and here come the Cubs. The Pepsi lineup presented by skipper Don Baylor has EY, Eric Young, leading off at second base, followed by Ricky Gutierrez at short. Sammy is in right. Mark Grace at first. Rondell White makes his Wrigley Field debut as a Cub. Damon Buford in center. Joe Girardi back behind the plate. Cubs might have found themselves a third baseman in Jeff Houston, who had a wonderful road trip, and Kevin Tampany pitches and bats ninth against hard thrower Rob Bell.
And we'll take a look at the defense. It's Young, Griffey, and Bichette left to right. Steins, Larkin, Reese, and Casey in the infield. Jason LaRue behind the plate. And hard-throwing Rob Bell on the hill for this his 18th start. Again, control a factor as he's faced the Cubs twice. And he's shown them a very good overhand curve in both of those outings.
So hopefully the third time will be the charm for the Cubs today as the hard thrower fires one over Eric Young, who ducks underneath, and that is an indication that he may not have his good control today.
And I think if you're patient, you're going to draw a couple of walks, and the walks will usually do in young hard throwers.
That one missed inside, ball 2. Another big crowd. Heard a whisper that they might be even selling standing room only tickets.
I got to believe it's going to be in excess of 39,000 today.
EY hits that one a mile down the left field line and well into the seats.
And nobody has to tell the Cubs how important this homestand is, starting it with this particular game against the Reds. It's a team you have to catch before you even think about catching the Cardinals.
2-1, bases clear, and 3 balls and a strike. Always a good idea for the Cubs to get Eric Young on. He's 12 for his last 12 stolen base attempts. And now the big right-hander kicks the 3-1 pitch, misses inside, leadoff walk. Let's put a couple on the board early here as the Cubs battle the Reds this afternoon. 1 on, nobody out for Gutierrez.
Ricky has a home run against Bell.
The question you have when you see Gutierrez in this situation, do you play for a run early with the wind blowing in? Ricky has 14 sacrifices on the year.
Now LaRue catches it and throws it a little better than Eddie Taubensee.
Wide open stance. He looked like he was going to drop the head down and lay down a bunt, but he takes another ball inside.
Well, I think, Chip, before you bunt, you have to see if Bell's going to walk himself into some difficulty, because without laying one down, you might be able to get runners at first and second just by keeping the bat on your shoulder.
Big lead by Young at first, and he's back standing up. The Cubs and Reds have split 6 games. The Cubs have taken 2 of 3 here in Chicago. The Reds beat us 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati very early in the year, you'll recall. Oh, Young was going, and he just did get back.
Good thing that Bell didn't give him the quick move, because EY took 2 steps toward, as you can see, second base. And if this throw is on the money, they're going to pick him off. Great ratio for EY this year.
He's dancing around over there and induces another throw over to first. Crowd getting a little antsy as Bell putting the brakes on the ball game here in the first. 1 ball, no strikes. Nowhere near again. 6 of his first 7 out of the strike zone.
Well, you might remember the final game against the Dodgers. The Cubs were very aggressive against Kevin Brown. There's Ruben Covedo, who will pick up the start on Sunday after throwing 133 pitches in Los Angeles in his last start.
Runner is going. Great jump. Strike. Throw late. Eric Young steals number 39, and he's stolen 13 in a row.
Well, that time Bell was so intent on throwing his strike that he completely forgot about Young. And that was absolutely a mismatch. He stole that against Bell. LaRue had no chance whatsoever. He got 4 steps before Bell even came to the plate.
So a hit means a run. 2 balls and a strike to Ricky. There's the bunt. It's pushed up the first base line. Bell hesitates, and the Cubs have 2 on, nobody out. Ricky throws a surprise party, and the Cubs in business early.
Well, the first thought for Rob Bell was let it go foul, but when the ball gets on the grass here, it's not going to go foul. You just have to take the out here and let the sacrifice be accomplished. But as you can see, Bell goes, well, maybe it'll roll foul. It doesn't, and he has no play. So runners at the corners for Sosa.
.35 home runs for Sosa, 102 driven in. And 0 for 6 against Bell lifetime. Young at third. The pitch. Misses downstairs. He's been behind all 3 hitters he's faced in the game. Nice to get a couple early against the young right-hander. Griffey struck out on a changeup his first time up. Sosa battling Bell for the first time today. High and tight, ball 2.
Well, that might not be long before we see Don Gullett come out from that dugout. As you can see in the home run race, Sheffield leads by 1 over Sosa, and Griffey 3 back of Sheffield, 2 in back of Sammy.
It was also tied with Jeff Kent with the RBI lead at 102. Junior 6 behind with 96. That ball pulled toward third. That should score the run. And Sosa wraps into the double play. 2 outs. Young scores, and the Cubs lead 1-0. No RBI. The penalty for hitting into the around the horn 5-4-3 double play.
Sammy expanded his strike zone. This is ball 3. It's way inside. Bell winds up making a good pitch. And anytime you can trade 2 for the run early, you do just that. You try to stay out of the big inning, and really nothing for Ricky to do. He can't get close to getting a piece of Reese at second.
But the Cubs have scored first, and here's Mark Grace. Grace had a wonderful road trip for the Cubs. He drove in 9 runs in 7 games. And now Bell's starting to discover the magic again. 1 ball, 1 strike.
As you can see, the second half, Mark Grace starting to heat it up. Starting to get closer to that familiar 300 spot.
It's a 296, but is in jeopardy of seeing a few points shaved off here as it's 1-2 now.
What do you know when he goes?
Through a nice stop. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I like the fact that Don Baylor, at the most critical point of the season as far as the Cubs are concerned, is starting to get real aggressive on the base paths. He's starting to put a whole lot of pressure on the defenses around the National League.
Pulled toward Casey at first. Sean makes a good play, steps on the bag, and that retires the side. The Cubs' aggressiveness does pay off. A walk, a steal, a bunt, and then a ground ball double play plates the first run of the game, and the Cubs lead the Reds 1-0.
Uniroyal tires with.
Along with Steve Stone, Chip Carey back at the ballpark. Cubs have scored first, 1-0 after 1. And here's Dante Bichette leading it off for Cincinnati.
The last time we saw Bichette, he was really struggling with everything. Not so the case anymore.
First pitch popped up on the infield. Who wants this? It'll be Mark Grace. And he's got it. Dante is out number 1, 4 up. 4 down for Kevin Tapani. Boy, you give this guy a run early in this ballpark with the wind blowing in like this, you like your chances.
That's because he's not going to walk anybody. So we want to send along congratulations to Kelvin and Teresa Mazer on the birth of a brand new Cub fan, Brianna Mazer.
One up, 1 down for Sean Casey. More congratulations go out today as well. Paul Rathje, the Cubs director of stadium operations, was married August 5th to his new bride Sherry at the Tropicana in Las Vegas. And a big welcome to a big group of TV production syndicators from Chicago watching the game in our WGN suite with station manager Bob Ramsey and program manager Ken Reiner. Many of those folks were over at Harry Carey's restaurant here in downtown Chicago last night, led by the one and only Bob Vorwald. They were out very, very late last night.
We're hoping that Bob was able to get his rest, of course.
That way,
because he knows how big this game is today.
Very big series. Here's the pitch to Casey. It's outside, ball 2, 2-1.
As you can see, off to a very slow start. That was because of the thumb problem. But take a look at June, July, and August, and that's more than Sean Casey, who hit .332 last year. This is a real good young hitter.
Off his thumbs and into the seats, 2-2. Is this the kind of guy, Stoney, you think could win a batting title someday? He flirted with it for a while last season.
Not only do I think he'll have a shot at winning a batting title, it depends on how much power he wants to hit for as a first baseman. Because last year he hit 25 home runs. I think he could eventually hit between 35 and 40, but the average would suffer.
Wow, great pitch from Tapani. And you see the way he finished that pitch too, Stoney? Stayed in his post-release pose after Casey swung and missed that pitch.
Well, Kevin knew he had to get it inside, and this ball tails back over the plate. I don't think Casey can believe he missed it. So from the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera, we'll take a look at a pretty good moving fastball. And Chip, one of the things you said about Kevin Tapani on a day with the wind blowing in, he's going to be awfully tough because you're going to have to hit him to beat him. He's not going to give you anything.
Here's a good hitter, Dimitri Young, and he rips that one past Eric Young into right center field. So Dimitri wins the battle of the Youngs. And there's your first Cincinnati hit in the game. Well, I've always liked that guy's bat. He just sprays line drives all over the ballpark. He's not going to win you a Gold Glove, but he can hit.
He drives this ball back through the middle. And a good effort by the young and the restless.
Very good.
Not much rest for Eric Young after we got in awfully early in the morning on that trip from California. But coming back the way we did after a huge win, that had to pick everybody up because that was a wonderful baseball game.
We hardly needed a plane. We were so sky high coming back, and that game is one of those games that if something magical happens this year for this Cub team, you look back and say that was a turning point, just as we saw with that rocket shot hit in Colorado that saved Rick Aguilera and the Cubs.
Well, Aggie's saved 9 of his last 10 games. He's really been terrific. Has very close to the same save percentage as Trevor Hoffman. And Aggie has started to put it all together. But Chip, that was the kind of game where if you lose it, it really deflates the whole baseball team. And when you have runners at first and third in the 10th inning, nobody out, 1-run lead, and you hold that one, leaving Gary Sheffield standing in the batter's box, that is a huge win.
1-1. Outside corner to Pokey Reese.
Reese got off to a very quick start, but he's really scuffled lately. This is a good fastball over the outside corner as Kevin Tapani doing what he does best, moving the ball in and out, up and down, changing speeds, and he's doing it basically with 2 pitches. A moving fastball and a straight change, not throwing too many breaking balls.
Ground ball right to Ricky. He'll step on the bag, and that does it for Cincinnati. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. Kevin Tapani's got a 1-run lead, and today that might be enough. Lead, and come on out to Wrigley tomorrow for your chance to take home an International Hobby Corps Air Cubs P-51 Mustang. The first 10,000 fans attending the Cubs-Reds game get an International Hobby Corps Air Cubs P-51 Mustang model plane, compliments of our friends at Eckrich. And a hearty Wrigley Field welcome to Rondell White, who bats for the first time as a Cub in this ballpark, and for the first time in today's game. And Bell again misses inside.
Talking with a few of the Reds people before the game, they were saying that they believe the addition of Rondell White to the Cubs is going to be probably the biggest addition maybe in the division.
A bullet hit up the middle. And if he can do that.
Well, this guy can hit. There is no doubt about it. And hopefully that leg is 100% because Rondell White is going to be a big run producer, especially hitting in the number 5 spot as he takes this one right back up the middle. So Bell, who struggled with his control in the first inning, laid that one right down the middle, and Rondell White wasted no time.
So he's aboard, leading things off in the second for Damon Buford. Again, with that sore leg, you wouldn't figure White would do much, if any, running. In fact, the Cubs have told him until that leg's 100%, don't try to take the extra base.
And I can't blame him. You want to keep him healthy, so if he plays at 80%, that's fine. If he hits a double, you don't want him stretching it into a triple. Damon Buford against the Reds hit a couple of home runs.
1 ball, no strikes. And Bell misses upstairs, 2-0.
And it's really nice to see Joe Girardi in the on-deck circle. Woody Williams hit him right in the nose. It could have been a whole lot worse. But Joe, a very tough guy, is back. There's not much swelling. Had the stitches out this morning. Says he feels 100%.
Fouled off his foot. That doesn't feel too good. 2 balls and a strike. Boy, did Jeff Reed play fantastically in Joe Girardi's absence?
Well, he did a couple of things. Number one, he caught the ball very well. He called it, as far as the game is concerned, very well. And even more important than that, he stayed healthy and caught every inning while Joe couldn't. And that made Chad Myers feel even better.
Jose Nieves, too, for either one of those two men would have been forced to catch. And it would have been kind of fun to see the Cubs have a 13 or 14 run lead going to the ninth and let one of those guys go ahead and give them an inning off.
It would have been fun for us, but not a whole lot of fun for them.
Exactly. 2 balls and a strike, runner at first, nobody out. And it's pulled foul toward the Cub dugout, 2-2.
You know, when you see what happened in the San Diego series and realize how tough it was to drop 3 of 4, then you go into Los Angeles, a team that was red hot, knowing that San Francisco was starting to pull away in the West. That was a very motivated Dodger team that the Cubs ran up against. They took 2 of 3. That was a big series for them.
And the Dodgers have lost 3 straight series now. 3 straight series to teams with losing records, and Buford strikes out on a pitch on the inside corner, and there's out number 1 in the Cubs' second inning.
Now, normally in this situation, after you take a look at a good breaking ball for strike 3, it buckles the knees of Buford. And a good call by Jerry Meals. Normally, Chip, you would see hit and run right here. You'd want to stay out of the double play. I don't think you're going to see a lot of hitting and running with Rondell White at first base. But Joe Girardi hits the ball very well to right field. And you just as soon keep the inning alive for Houston.
Joe at 297. And he takes a strike. Talked to him before the game today. Very little discomfort. Still having a little trouble breathing out of one side of his nose.
Well, as you would expect, he has a broken sinus bone.
But it hasn't hindered his vision. Doesn't keep him up. Doesn't bother him. Had the stitches taken out from the wound earlier. And the Cubs certainly happy to have him back. And all of us are so very thankful that the injury he did suffer was not more severe than it could have been. For that was one of the most frightening scenes you ever will see in a baseball game. A man hit flush in the face by a pitched ball. No balls, 2 strikes to Girardi. He hits that ball to right field. Charging hard is Bichette, and he'll make the play, and there's out number 2.
Well, a lot of people would say, Chip, why would you get hit on a pitch like that? And normally I think if Joe was swinging away, he probably would have been able to either spin away from it or get out of the way of it. But he had squared around to bunt. He was concentrating on getting the bunt down, and as that ball tailed in, Joe was in an unfamiliar position, almost parallel as far as the pitch is concerned. And hitters are taught, when they're standing looking out at the pitcher, they turn back toward the catcher to get out of the way of anything that's high and tight. This put him in an unfamiliar foot position, and that's why he got hit.
And the biggest break again for Joe was the fact that that ball did not hit his bat. And I know that sounds crazy, but had that ball hit the bat, it might have deflected around the eye, the orbital bone, and we might have been talking about not just a season-ending, but a career-threatening and maybe a vision-threatening injury for Girardi. And it was a week ago tomorrow back in San Diego.
Here's a man that did a great job on the road trip, and that's Jeff Houston. Nice to see Jeff getting a chance to play a little bit more. He's got that batting average up in the 250s. And he is occupying a spot that's awfully tough to do, and that is the swing man. The guy who plays once every 10 days, doesn't know where he's going to play when he comes to the ballpark.
And he's hitting 8th in the National League. With pitcher next, that's tough duty as well.
That's the single toughest spot to hit because of the patience you have to show. Although in this situation, they're going to pitch to him, not wanting to put Rondell White at second base because they know Kevin Tapani can hit.
1 ball, no strikes. Cubs leading the Reds 1-0 here in inning number 2. And bell comes set. And Houston takes a strike. Snap throw back to first. And White is in cleanly. Maybe Jeff has figured out the magic, Stoney. He just ought to approach every pitcher like he's Kevin Brown.
Well, he's hitting 800 against Kevin Brown, and when you ask them why, he has no idea. They were once roommates. That's not going to carry much weight with Kevin Brown, who could really care less, even if you were a relative. But he's 4 for 5 against him.
1 ball, 1 strike again to first. And again, Rondell White is back atop the bag.
What I like about Jeff Houston, and anybody in his position has to do one thing, and that is acceptance of the role. If you don't accept the role, you can't excel. And that role is never knowing if you're going to be out there.
That caught the corner. Good pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's a big loss for this team where Eddie Taubensee can't play, because offensively, Taubensee not only does a great job against the Cubs, but he's another left-handed bat in the lineup. Jason LaRue, who hit last year, not hitting much this year.
1-2 is popped out of play. Fine catch by a gentleman sitting in the front row in the upper deck. And Houston gets another swing.
Pretty nice play. And if you're going to sit in that front row, you better have good hands and good balance.
Rondell a short lead. The 1-2 pitch to the Cubs' number 8 hitter is tapped toward Pokey Reese at second. He'll make the clean throw to first, and the Cubs are retired in the second inning. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We go to inning number 3 with the Cubs ahead by a 1-0 score. LaRue hits a single into left center field to lead off the Cincinnati third. That's the Reds' second hit of the ball game, and the tying run is aboard for Rob Bell here at beautiful Wrigley Field. Steve Stone, Chip Carey, and the lovely Mary D is here with a special announcement for tomorrow here on WGN.
Amen. Is this a beautiful day?
Tell you what.
Summer resort weather, Mary.
I love
Best we've
it.
had all year.
Oh,
I think that's because you're here.
Could be. I won't claim that, though.
No, please
It's the
do.
Cubs. It's the Cubs.
Well, we're delighted you're here, and you've got the big Bud Billiken parade tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, we'll be on Channel 9 from 10 to 12:30 p.m. with the 71st annual Bud Billiken Parade.
Bell tries to sacrifice, but rolls into a forced play as LaRue is the leading man. He's out number 1.
That's just a plain veteran move on the part of Kevin Tapani, a terrific fielder who knew exactly who was going up the line. He never hesitated. Girardi's making this call, and he realized with the catcher running, you got a good shot at second. Catch it, throw it in the same motion, and they've got LaRue by plenty.
So the pitcher runs the bases now with 1 man out, and Chris Stein's the hitter. He tapped out to third his first time up. So the parade airs on WGN from 10 to 12:30. What's the parade route in downtown Chicago, folks would like to attend?
Starts down at 39th Street on King Drive and goes all the way out to 51st Street. And it's been doing that for 71 years. That's amazing.
It is amazing. And
Amazing.
The theme of the parade this year is?
Our children. It's all about kids, our pride. That's who they are. You know, this is the 22nd year that WGN is carrying the parade, and my 22nd year hosting it. So I'm excited.
It's a big thrill.
I'm excited.
Now, how do you do play-by-play for a parade? That's what I want.
You just get out there, hang in, and have a lot of fun.
And go looking over there.
That's pretty good.
They're
That's
coming
right.
from that way.
That's right.
You got to know those community people, though.
Now, I didn't know this. It's the second largest parade after the Rose Bowl parade.
Absolutely, in the country.
Amazing.
Yeah. You
And
know, I was in the parade when I was a little girl, 7 years old.
And it's kind of like for the school children, you know,
It
you're
is.
going back to school in a not too distant future, and this is almost like a last hurrah for them for summer
It
vacation.
is a last hurrah. The mayor's going to be in the parade this year, and he says that he's going to talk to everybody all the way down the route, talking about August 22nd, back to school.
Well, I'm glad I don't have to worry about those days anymore. That was never a happy day.
I said, well, aren't you going to let them at least enjoy this time period so you don't have to talk about it? He said, no. August 22nd, that's the day they go back to school. We want them there on the first day.
But Tom Skilling has promised it's going to be just a beautiful day for the parade.
It is going to be, and when Tom says it, that's it. It's the law.
1 ball, 1 strike to Barry Larkin as we've reached the 3 o'clock hour here in Chicago. The Cubs leading the Reds 1-0. Tampany throws it right past him. It's 1-2. Where did the term Bud Billiken come from?
Billiken is supposedly a Chinese god, a mythical god that is like an angel for children. And he was dreamed up years ago by the founder of the Chicago Defender newspaper, who was Robert S. Abbott. They had little boys carrying the paper, and he wanted a way to get his kids out there so that they would be honored in some kind of way. So he had the first parade right down King Drive and paraded his little boys carrying their papers, and it just grew.
71 years ago.
Amazing.
That is amazing.
It's been a lot of fun.
Well, we wish you all the best tomorrow. It'll be great weather, a great turnout, and hopefully 71 more years.
I'm excited. You know, there's a guy out here in the ballpark having a good time this afternoon who's going to be my co-host. It's Doug Banks, and Doug is out of Chicago now. He was in Chicago. His show is back here, but he's now located in Dallas. So he's back. He came in this morning, said hello to everybody on Channel 9. So we'll be out there having a good time.
Well, Mary, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks for being here today and telling us about the Bud Billiken Parade tomorrow.
Thank you. I got to find my seat now.
Go, and bring us a win, will you, please?
All righty.
Mary D., she's wonderful, and she'll be on WGN tomorrow from 10 to 12:30, and the Cubs are on today and beating the Reds by 1. Cubs by a run as we head to the bottom half of the third inning. Kevin Tampany, Eric Young, and Ricky Gutierrez will try to add to the Cubs' run total today on just a magnificent start to the weekend in Chicago.
And my old friend Jay Kahn at the ball game today. His dad, Dr. Herb Kahn, I'm sure looking on if he can in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's just a touch warmer than it is today. So don't be jealous of us at 77 degrees. Just a gorgeous day in Chicago.
Bell finally gets ahead of somebody. Hasn't happened often, as you saw a moment ago, and it's always a good idea to get ahead of Kevin Tampany, who is a very good hitting National League pitcher. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He seems to get a lot of hits that really hurt you. Seems like he concentrates a bit more when the game is on the line.
Nice fielding play by Bell. That ball was past him when he got a glove on it, and Kevin is out number 1.
You release that baseball, you're the 5th infielder, and if you can square off on your follow-through, you're going to be around if that ball gets back up the middle. Now, some guys can't do it, and consequently the right-handers will fall off to the first base side, leaving the entire middle of the diamond exposed. But Bell did a pretty nice job, and if you can field your position a la a Greg Maddux, you're going to help yourself win a lot of baseball games.
1 up, 1 down for Eric Young. He walked, stole second, and scored the only run in the game. That was back in the Cubs' first. And we're in the third with the score still 1-0.
You can cheat a few steps in the outfield today with that wind blowing in. And so when you look around, you realize that Ken Griffey Jr. is playing an awfully shallow center field. And we'll pan across and show you the defense pretty much straight away. Not the best defenders in left and right. But Griffey, a Gold Glover, can go get him in center.
1-1. Is upstairs, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike.
I like the interaction between Ken Griffey and the Hall of Famer Marty Brennaman before the game today. And we'd like to pass along congratulations. First time we got a chance to see Marty Brennaman after his induction into the Ford Frick wing of the Hall of Fame, the broadcaster's wing. And what a terrific guy he is.
Pop back toward us, 3-2.
And there's a look at Marty, and Junior came up to him and said something to him, and Marty just acknowledged him, and he said, "Boy, you have really changed since you became a Hall of Famer. Everything you have now has HOF on it. Your cards, HOF for Hall of Fame." He said, "Things are just not the same, Marty."
3-2. EY sprays that to the shortstop. Larkin makes the play, and there is out number 2. I thought the most interesting thing Marty said about his acceptance speech was the overwhelming sense of terror he had walking up there and finally realizing that, hey, I've got to say something meaningful with 30,000 faces looking at me.
And I like the fact that his son and our buddy Tom Brennaman had a ring made up, going to have it delivered to the hotel today, commemorating the Hall of Fame.
Ricky rolls that one fair down the left field line. Steins couldn't knock it down, and Gutierrez will gallop into second. He's 2 for 2.
And this is the one thing you lose with Aaron Boone out of the lineup. Boone is a terrific defensive third baseman. In fact, In 84 games, he made just 8 errors. This is going to go as a double. But I'm sure it's a ball that Boone would have at least knocked down. Steins can't get a glove on it, so the Cubs in a position to score yet another run. And Sammy with an opportunity to drive in number 103.
And put the Cubs up by a pair. Sosa expanded his strike zone, tapped into a 5-4-3 double play that scored the Cubs run. And Bell just turning, firing, and letting it go where it may. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, talking with Jack McKeon before the game about Rob Bell, he's saying, look, I just have to send him to the mound. He'll be a much better pitcher in the years 2001 and 2002 for the learning process he has to go through this year. He says sometimes he looks terrific and other times can't get the ball over the plate. He said, but with his arm, with his velocity, which he pitches comfortably in the low 90s and will get it up to the mid 90s. And he said with his curveball, he eventually will be a terrific pitcher. But right now you have to pay the price for that inexperience. And the tough thing to do is pay that price in a pennant race.
1 ball, 1 strike. Ricky leads at second. The pitch to Sammy is fouled off his foot. And it's 1-2. Sosa hobbling for a moment.
Pretty nice article in the paper today about Sammy and the fact that Sammy truly believes now that he will be back. And although he'll leave the negotiations to his agent Adam Katz and Tom Rich, Sammy feels good about wearing that Cub uniform for a long period of time. But right now he's trying to walk off the effects of that foul ball off his instep.
And now Dave Tumbas will trot out and take a look at Sosa's war wound. It missed the plastic pad covering his left foot.
The one thing I can't understand, Chip, is you see that very little pad. And more times than not, you'll see guys hit anywhere but that plastic guard.
It looked like it got him right in the shin bone.
Just on the inside of where the guard is.
You see,
just above
the top,
just above it. Well, Don Baylor, no stranger to being hit, not only with foul balls, but with thrown baseballs. It's going to take a lot more to get Sammy out of this particular series. After going head-to-head with Gary Sheffield, now he gets to go head-to-head with Ken Griffey Jr. He'll miss going head-to-head with Mark McGwire, because Big Mac's still on the disabled list, and there's no timetable to his return, much to the dismay of the Cardinals, who really have had a whole lot of trouble scoring runs since Big Mac departed. Most home runs since 1993, Junior, Sammy, McGwire, Bell, and Bonds. Very familiar names, names that terrify pitchers.
1-2 now to Sosa. Ricky leads at second. The pitch ripped into left field for a base hit. Young doesn't throw particularly well. Here comes Ricky around third. The throw is, in time. They called him out. The throw just good enough by Young. And Gutierrez out on a head-first diving attempt at the plate. And the Cubs failed to add to their 1-run lead. A great play by Young in left. LaRue the tag. And the Cubs fail to score in the third.
How does your gray beard or mustache reflect on you?
Man, I look old.
Now, get rid of gray with new vitamin-enriched Just for Men gel. Specially made to penetrate, soften, and rejuvenate that coarse, hard-to-color gray. Brush in Just for Men. In 5 minutes, gray is gone, matched up to the rest of your hair.
Don't ever shave that beard.
Just for Men gel, the rejuvenator.
Interesting. Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola? A paradox. While molecularly similar, they logically seem to offer two possibilities. Of course, you must invariably arrive at one and only one correct choice.
Duh.
A no-brainer.
Whether you drive a car, truck, van, or SUV, Pep Boys has your battery. The new Pro Start Plus. Just $39.99 for most vehicles on the road. Single price batteries at Pep Boys. One more reason cars like us, people love us.
Introducing Twist and Fill from Twizzlers. Watermelon outside, cherry goo inside.
Chuck Norris. Back in black. Delta Force 2. Saturday at 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central on WGN. Xena faces her worst nightmare.
Something's trying to kill my baby.
On the next Xena. Saturday at 3 Eastern, 2 Central on WGN.
It's a 1-0 game, and a bang-bang play at the plate goes the Reds' way.
Dmitry Young rolls it in. Jason LaRue has got it in time, and it's the lunge by LaRue. Now, from that angle, it looked like he might have been safe. From the last angle, we saw it looked like he had him before the lunge. And we'll watch it again. LaRue's got the ball ahead of Rickey. He lunges, and from that angle, looks like he might have had the hand in before the tag. But the Cubs don't get the benefit of the call by Jerry Meals, and it's still a 1-0 game.
Whatever happened, Ty goes to the runner.
That's at first base.
No. Thought I'd stretch the horizons there a little bit. Here's Junior. No balls, 2 strikes. He struck out on a changeup from Tapani, and he pops that one out of play. Stoney, we get an email from a fan watching in Leesburg, Florida, which is down near Orlando way. Russ Marino's been watching the Cubs for over 55 years and wanted to know if you can throw a changeup on a first pitch to a new batter. That was his question. Throw whatever you want.
You can change it to an old batter, a new batter, or any batter you want. But when you talk about the changeup, what is it changing from? A changeup, every hitter in baseball adjusts to the fastest pitcher a pitcher throws. So with Kerry Wood, it's 96 miles an hour. With Kevin Tapani, it's about 90. And so when you throw a changeup, there's around a 14 or 15 mile an hour variance between a changeup and a fastball. Because every hitter adjusts on down, they're usually out ahead of a changeup.
And that's our email address, CubsTV@chicagosports.com. Our erstwhile email manager, Pete Toma, waiting for your inquiries. 1-2 to Junior, who has celebrated, I guess, Stoney, a bittersweet homecoming to Cincinnati this year.
Well, you have to believe, Chip, that he's going to be a much better player next year with a whole lot of pressure off. Now, no one's going to scoff at 33 home runs, 96 driven in. And he's going to put up prodigious numbers again. But he got off to a very slow start. And I think one of the reasons he did that, Chip, was on a daily basis, he wanted to substantiate the huge contract he signed.
1-2. Well, he told me as much that first trip in to Cincinnati. He said, look, I feel like with every at bat I'm trying to hit 5 home runs, and obviously that doesn't work. That one pulled into the shift right to Eric Young, and Griffey is 0 for 2. 1 up, 1 down in the 4th. Again, Tapani has allowed just 2 Cincinnati hits.
What you love about Kevin Tapani along with John Lieber is they have a friendly contest. Who can complete their baseball games quicker? And with that in mind, both of them just stand on the mound. They get ready, and as soon as the hitter's ready, they're ready to come at him. That's just like Fergie Jenkins and Bob Gibson. Get it and throw it.
Bichette takes the ball. He popped out to Mark Grace his first time up. Bichette also another man that the Reds thought would be a huge run producer for them this season, protecting Griffey in the lineup.
I think at the beginning of the year, Chip, he was kind of suffering from the Coors Field syndrome,
sure,
and not having that as his home park where he just really hit exceptionally well. But after a slow start, where everybody was getting inside on him. If you remember, it was during our series when he made the adjustment and started looking inside. He's become a much better hitter. And that's where the entire National League went the first month and a half of the season. They went inside. They broke bat after bat after bat.
Andrew Lorraine broke his bat.
Right. And then he made an adjustment. And against the Cubs, he's adjusted quite well over the course of his career.
2-1 pitch to him. Got those arms extended, but hits a one-hopper to Rickey. Easy play. Another ground out. And Cincinnati 2 outs in the 4th inning. Maybe the future Fireman of the Year is on that truck.
Firehouse 78. A familiar sight across the street. Got a lot of folks working today.
And those who aren't, we hope you're enjoying our telecast from beautiful Wrigley Field. Beautiful day for the family to come out. And there are a few scattered tickets available throughout the weekend. Little ground ball off Sean Casey's bat. Houston up and across. Casey doesn't run well. And Tapani retires his 6th consecutive man. Nothing doing for the Reds in the 4th. Mark Grace will lead it off when we come back.
This fall, the search for intelligent life begins.
How many inches in a yard? 12. You think 12 inches in a yard? Then we're dating. What does the NAACP stand for? They're gonna stone me in when I go home. If you're handling a woman's parasol, what are you doing?
Grabbing her breast.
How do you perform origami?
My girl performs that pretty well.
Can you name a famous Minuteman?
Famous, yeah, my last boyfriend.
Street Smarts, coming this fall.
Coming this fall to WGN.
This portion of Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN is brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts. You'll find it at CarQuest.
Here's an update on some of this week's biggest stories. A toast to Dom Perignon, as this week he invented champagne.
And also this week, Jim Morrison is arrested for public drunkenness.
It didn't all happen this year.
But it all happened this week in history. I'm Giselle Fernandez.
And I'm Josh Binswanger. 1 week in time holds an amazing wealth of history. Join us for This Week in History, only on the History Channel, where the past comes alive. Check your local listings.
I registered my vision.
I registered my cause. I registered my family.
Visit register.com or call 1-800-5WWW-NET to register today.
Well, we'd like to welcome a big group from Telerep spending the day at WGN and Wrigley Field. They flew in from around the country to catch the Cubs and the Reds today at Wrigley Field. And our boss, Bob Horwald, the gentleman sitting in that very, very unattractive Hawaiian shirt in the middle of your screen.
Well, you know, Don Ho gave him that shirt personally.
Oh, he did? Grace, oh, what a play by Casey. A bullet hit to first, and Grace is retired for out number 1.
2 times in a row, Mark Grace has played peppered with Sean Casey, and both times Sean Casey was equal to the task. So there's some Mark Grace fans that are most unhappy that he's 0 for 2. This is a real fine play by Casey. This could have easily been a double, but no such luck.
So for Grace, it's Don Ho-Hum as he's 0 for 2. Here's Rondell White. He had a base hit his first time up. After a shaky start, Bell Stoney starting to find the strike zone early in the count, and that should be very beneficial for him. Rondell in a quick 2-strike hole. Very quick game so far. We're in the 4th inning already.
And Cincinnati has a most unusual record because they're over 500 on the road, under 500 at home.
Very similar to their season last year when they were the big road machine.
You very rarely see that. You take the Cubs, for example. They've fought their way to 3 games over at home, but 10 under on the road.
Rondell lays off. The Cubs have won 10 of 13 in this ballpark. A stat we hope continues the next 6 days. 3-2 to White. After jumping ahead 0-2, Bell's wildness catching up to him again. The payoff pitch, and Rondell swung through it up in the zone.
And he swung at ball 4. That looked like a hard slider. And it was up and out of the zone. Rondell gets just a piece of it, but it sticks in the glove of Jason LaRue.
Stoney, how about those Seattle Mariners? Their lead in the AL West was 1 game, and they were going to New York and then to the White Sox. They went 6-2 on their first 2 stops, and their lead back to 6 games out west.
One of the real amazing stories in baseball this year. Losing Ken Griffey Jr. and becoming a better team.
Buford takes ball 2 high, 2 balls, no strikes.
They became a better team with the pitching, Chip. It had nothing to do with the loss of Jr. As you can see, they've got a 6-game lead over Oakland, who only has a 1-game lead over the Indians in the wild card race. And Oakland has really struggled.
They've lost 5 in a row. And that Cleveland team is one that no one will want to play in the postseason if they get there.
Assuming they get Manny Ramirez back. Manny Ramirez had a leg problem, ran through a stop sign that Jim Riggleman gave him, had a collision at the plate, aggravated a hamstring. And that's a huge loss for them.
3-1 pitch popped up out of play. Had a chance to see Riggs a couple of weeks ago on one of my weekend assignments. He looks great. Doing very well in Cleveland. And he's thought of very highly by the Indians organization, and we wish Jim all the best, and all the former coaches under Jim Riggleman here in Chicago. Buford aboard with a 2-out walk.
Well, Riggs is a terrific baseball man. Hopefully he's found a home in Cleveland. He's as well prepared as anybody in this game, has dedicated his life to the game. Learned under the master Whitey Herzog, and eventually Riggs is going to get another opportunity to manage. And we're not sure where it's going to be. Charlie Manuel's done a pretty good job with a banged-up Cleveland ball club. But Riggs has a world of friends in the game, and we can only wish him well.
And another one of them, Tom Gamboa, who is our third base coach, managing the Dodgers AAA team in Albuquerque. And doing a great job as Girardi swings and misses. Dan Radisson managing for the Yankees AA team. Dave Bialas, the manager for the Cubs AA team in West Tennessee.
And the Diamondbacks are doing pretty well, so Dave Bialas is having a nice year.
And Marty Demerit, I believe, is a roving minor league pitching instructor for the Pirates organization. So it was good to see all the coaches land on their feet and terrific baseball jobs, and we wish all of them the best.
Give you an idea how good a job Bialas is doing. The Diamondbacks in first place by 7 games in the second half.
You know, I'm
30 and 14.
I'm a little disappointed in you. They have not become your beloved Diamondbacks like the Lansing Lugnuts were last year.
Well, you know, you can't shift loyalties all that quickly. Plus, I love the logo of those Lugnuts.
That's true. I can't argue with that.
We'll be following a lot of Lugnut prospects as they go up through the system, however.
1 ball, 1 strike, pulled towards short. Barry Larkin gobbles it up, flips to Pokey at second, and that does it for the Cubs in inning number 4. Well, Stoney's beloved Cubbies, however, playing well today. Kevin Tapani pitching a gem, and we lead it 1-0.
Got an old buddy waiting for a visit in Washington?
With everyday low fares on Southwest Airlines, flying the BWI is your best route to the capital.
You are now free to move about the country.
When I got rejected from an Eastern college, it hit me big. Was it my SAT scores, my average grade average, my looks? That's history. I just won the Mega $1 Million big game. I hit it big, and I'm giving a chunk of it to my beloved alma mater right here in Illinois.
Something big you'd like to do? Play the Mega $1 Million big game from the Illinois Lottery. You could hit it big.
Oh, to that school back east? We're talking huge chunk.
You've always trusted us with your letters, your bills,
your packages. Now, we're bringing the security and confidence of the real world into the virtual one. Introducing the U.S. Postal Service's e-bill pay. Enroll now to receive, pay, and send your bills online with the service you already know and trust.
Fly like an eagle into the future.
This portion of Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN is brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts. You'll find it at CarQuest.
It's back-to-back action with Cleopatra 25-25 and Jack of All Trades.
Sunday at 4 Eastern on WGN.
Cubs by 1 after 4, and we invite you to join Don Baylor, Sammy Sosa, Ryan Sandberg, Ernie Banks, and many more at the 16th Annual Cubs Convention at the Chicago Hilton Towers during the weekend of February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in 2001. Room reservations available by calling the Hilton at 312-922-4400. And for more information, call the convention hotline at 773-404-CUBS or visit www.cubs.com. Dimitri Young leads things off for Cincinnati.
Young has been a much better hitter this year from the right side. But from whatever side you face him, he normally is a doubles machine. He had an even 300 last year with 30 doubles, which for him is a low total.
1-2. Popped back and into the seats by Young, who has one of the 2 Reds hits today.
Things heating up for Dimitri Young, and they're heating up at the right time as far as the Reds are concerned.
Hey, is that the spirit of St. Louis?
It's the spirit of Chicago.
Ground ball right side. Gracie gobbles it up as the grass slowed it down. Young is retired. Another ground out from Kevin Tapani. That's 5 in a row. He's retired on the ground, and 7 in a row he's retired overall today.
From the high scoreboard camera, we'll take a look at pretty good play by Mark Grace. You know Kevin Tapani's going to be there. Gracie leads him perfectly, and they make the play. So things rolling right along for Kevin Tapani. He's taken advantage of the high grass here. The wind blowing in, not much of a factor as far as Tapani is concerned because he keeps throwing ground ball after ground ball. Now Jeff Houston had a meeting with him to find out how he wants to pitch Pokey Reese. As you know, you have to play in to take the bunt away.
Reese bounced into an inning-ending force play in the Cincinnati second.
But a most unusual year because Pokey has 12 errors at second. That for him is a whopping total.
And for a man who plays half of his games on the artificial surface, that has to be cause for concern.
Well, it started early. He got off to a real tough start defensively. But things moving along a whole lot better for him recently. Except that batting average, which started way up there, has settled in the mid-250s.
1 ball, 1 strike. Low and away from Tapani.
Things could have been a lot different for Pokey Reese because if he goes to another organization, he's probably at this point their starting shortstop. But not with the Reds.
And how about this Cincinnati team, Stoney? I mean, this is a ball club that everyone said gave in when they traded Denny Nagel.
Well, they forgot to tell them because they're still in the race. So the media perception of what you do as a general manager and the reality are sometimes completely different. They knew they weren't going to sign Denny Nagel. They knew that they could get some prospects for him. Would you like to have him? Quite obviously you would. But to allow a man to walk out the door and get nothing for him, and granted, he's not in the Greg Maddux category, but the Cubs still hearing what they did with Greg Maddux, letting him walk out the door and get nothing for him.
Franchise hasn't recovered since. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The count to Pokey Reese.
Then again, I mean, don't equate Denny Nagel with Greg Maddux, but Denny Nagel is a pretty good pitcher,
yes,
and he's done a nice job for the Yankees.
Payoff to Pokey. And he struck him out. Might have swung at ball 4. 8 in a row retired by Kevin, and he has his 3rd strikeout of the day.
He keeps this ball out away from Pokey. Good fastball in a perfect spot from the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera. We'll take a look at strike 3. And a huge crowd on hand today to see one of the biggest games the Cubs will play this year.
Here's LaRue. He has a base hit, and he takes a strike. And at one time or another, the Reds have lost Casey, Boone, Taubensee, Larkin, and Pete Harnish to injury.
Larkin is just back. And Jason LaRue was a victor of the numbers game early in the season. Now, he did well enough last year to probably be a platoon catcher for them. But they went with the experience of Benito Santiago. And LaRue is catching now because Taubensee is hurt, has a bulging disc in his neck. And so LaRue getting some playing time. He's pretty good defensively.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Cubs by 1. In the top half of inning number 5, Tampany would love to get LaRue here and then head to the 6th, looking forward to facing Rob Bell to lead things off. The 1-2. That got a piece of Girardi,
who really doesn't need any more bruises at this point. John Lever putting together a magnificent season, leading the National League in innings pitched.
One, 2. A high fly into straightaway center right to Damon Buford. He makes the play, and that does it for Cincinnati in the 5th.
Did you know that a contact lens in the hands of an eye care professional can take your vision to another level? This is AccuView 2, and 7 out of 10 who wear it see better than 20/20. And you thought 20/20 was as good as it gets? Ask your eye care professional about the #1 doctor-prescribed lens, AccuView 2. AccuView, advancing the science of sight.
People, you can come out now. Look, I've got the wireless internet right here in my hand. No wires, no tricks, news, sports, shop, all online. And crystal clear calls, all right here. On Sprint PCS. That's right. Come on out. Welcome back to the world.
The Sprint PCS wireless web with email. And now, America Online.
It's your breakfast table. It's your car. Take it to Midas for a free oil change when you purchase lifetime Midas brakes. Guaranteed for as long as you own your car. Keep a good thing going. Go Midas.
Want to make your ice cream more exciting? Pour on Hershey's chocolate syrup.
Her magic turns friend against friend.
What have you done?
Next Beastmaster, Sunday at 5 Eastern, 4 Central on WGN. Tragedy or conspiracy?
To make you the new Synod leader.
Earth, final conflict. Sunday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central on WGN.
All smiles at Wrigley Field today as the Cubs lead the Reds 1-0. A great start, Stoney, to the most important homestand of the season. 3 with the Reds, 3 with the Cardinals, with pennant hopes and aspirations on the line this week.
And Kevin Tampany has been brilliant, hasn't walked anybody. He's fanned 3, he's kept the ball in the infield. But Rob Bell has been pretty tough. There was a close play at the plate, would have been a nice insurance run, but the Cubs didn't get the benefit of the call.
Wind blowing in, you use your infield behind you, get a few fly balls, and that's exactly what Kevin Tampany has done. We said it at the time, the way he pitches in this place, sometimes 1 is enough.
Well, let's hope the Cubs will put a few more on the board, and maybe the control of Rob Bell will desert him. So far, it's been pretty good.
So Jeff Houston leads things off, shows bunt, takes the ball, and the bottom half of our 5th inning is underway. One ball, 1 strike to Houston. Smacks an off-speed pitch to second. Reese makes a clean play. 1 up, 1 down, and Kevin Tampany will be the hitter. Before he does so, let's step aside and let you know what's coming up later on here on WGN.
When the First Lady needs a bodyguard, Charles Bronson's the only man who can get the job done. Assassination, tonight at 8 Eastern on WGN.
Taffany bats with the bases clear and one man down. Rob Bell nabbed him in the third inning. And that's upstairs. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
Tapp hit the ball pretty hard, but he hit it right back at Bell.
2-1.
Well, now you pretty much know a fastball's coming. When that happens, Tapp usually gets good wood on it if it's a strike.
The Cubs scored the game's only run back in the bottom of the first inning. A walk, a stolen base. A bunt single by Gutierrez put him first and third with nobody out. Sosa hit into a 5-4-3 double play that scored Young, and that's been it. Chopper toward Casey at first. That's easy. 2 men down. We said at the time, too, that if you're going to get Bell, it'd be a good idea to put a couple on the board early as well, because he's got the potential to settle in, and he's done that today.
Well, Don Baylor realizing that this is really a Jekyll and Hyde Park. On days with the wind blowing out, when you figure you're going to get 6, 7, maybe 8 runs, you play a different style of baseball. With the wind blowing out of the northeast and blowing straight in, you know it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game, or you anticipate that. And so the Cubs played for a run early. They had Eric Young running. He stole a base and then got bunted over. And they still lead by the thinnest of margins.
Maybe a 2-out run is in the offing here with Eric Young in the batter's box. And he hits a high fly ball right center field pretty deep. Jr. on the run, still going, and the ball drops. Griffey and Bichette collide in the outfield.
Well, Griffey was following that ball as the wind was taking it toward Bichette. Now, we've talked about this many times, and it happened to the Cubs earlier this year. The right fielder just has to give way once he hears the center fielder calling for it, and Griffey quite obviously is calling for it. Bichette gets too close to him. You try to cross in back or duck down if you're going to cross in front.
And the problem for this, on this play for Griffey, he's going to get the error, but it's Bichette's mistake.
There's no doubt about that. And so the Cubs have a chance to score an all-important insurance run.
And a man who's got 2 of our 4 hits is up, and Ricky Gutierrez. Inside ball 1. The inning should be over. But Griffey drops a fly ball as Bichette set a mean screen in right center.
With runners in scoring position, Ricky Gutierrez has been just about as tough as anybody in the league.
And it's hard to think of a stretch of 4 or 5 games where he hasn't had at least one opportunity to hit with a man in scoring position, with Eric Young in front of him all year.
It has to be terrific to hit in the 2 spot when you have a guy like Ely hitting around 300 all season long.
Right through there, 2 balls and a strike. Again, the Cubs entering today's play 3 games behind the Reds. And standing room only crowds expected all weekend long. Pokey Reese playing games out at second, and Bell steps off. Again, the Cardinals have a 5.5 game lead over Cincinnati in the division. St. Louis sends Darryl Kyle against Jeff D'Amico up in Milwaukee tonight. Runner goes to third. The pitch low. The throw is not in time. Young steals his 40th of the year.
When you steal third base with 2 outs, you better make sure that you make it. And this isn't quite as close as it could have been. But if the ball is not on the foul side of the bag, EY is going to be out.
So 85, the last time the Cubs had a 40 steal man. They had 2 of them. Ryan Sandberg and Davey Lopes had great stolen base years for the Cubs. Now the count's full to Ricky Gutierrez. Big run 90 feet away here in the 5th.
And Bell has made 8 wild pitches this year.
That's why that steal could loom so large here. 3-2. Good cut. That whistled back behind home plate.
Got the 3-2 fastball, got under it and fouled it straight back. Against the Reds, Ricky has been awfully tough.
The 3-2 pitch. He lost him. They have to pitch to Sosa with 2 out. Four straight games for Gutierrez that he's been on base either via a hit or a walk. He's been on base 3 times today.
Right fielder Sammy
Third
Sosa.
walk for Bell, and here is Sammy.
Well, it's 80 pitches, but the last 6 and as many as he can throw to Sammy Sosa shouldn't have been made, as Bell should be out of this inning, but he's not.
And Sammy backs away from an inside corner strike. Sosa, in his last at bat, you recall, fouled the ball off his shin, his left shin. Hobbled around for a moment. Was attended to by Dave Thomas. And the Cubs medical staff stepped back into the box, ripped a single into left field, and Ricky was out at the plate to end the inning. Sammy hits a drive, deep toward left. Oh, baby, that's long gone. Into the teeth of the wind.
Rob Bell got Sammy out on an inside pitch in the 1st inning. But when he went back there again here in the 5th, Sammy hit it on the wavelength.
And now Grace tries to split the gap. He sends Jr. on a run, and Griffey makes a great running catch. But Sammy Sosa has accounted or had a hand in all 4 Cub runs today. A mammoth shot, his 36th of the year. He leads the league in homers. He leads the league in RBIs, and the Cubs lead this game by 4.
I can tell by looking whether a vehicle's been driven hard or not. This guy's one of my regular customers. Scorched brake rotors, beat up oil pan, probably never takes his foot off the gas. He trusts me to make sure it performs, and I trust CarQuest Auto Parts. I mean, you never know. Someday you might need to give me a ride.
CarQuest for AC Delco rapid-fire spark plugs. Older cars' engines can run rougher. Bring back that new car feel with AC Delco rapid-fire spark plugs. CarQuest, the professional choice.
Surface contact bearing 190. Dive! Big throat to quiet engine set.
Join Hollywood as it celebrates the art of making a difference.
What you're doing is motivated by a sense of purpose.
The 2000 Prism Awards, honoring the year's best movies, TV shows, and performers for their positive portrayals of substance abuse.
We can make a difference.
With special appearances by Lisa Gibbons, John Voight, Kathy Baker, and Martin Sheen.
I can think of 100 people who deserve this far more than I.
The 2000 Prism Awards.
Sunday at 6 Eastern, 5 Central on WGN.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago Cubs and may not be reproduced nor retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Chicago Cubs.
4-0 in favor of the Cubs. A look at number 36 from Sosa.
Bell had gone inside, and he goes inside one too many times. And how far does it fly? 430 happy feet for Southwest Airlines. And to get the ball out today, you pretty much have to be wearing one of those jerseys beneath the Cub garb. So Sammy now tied for the National League lead in home runs.
So here's Chris Sexton. He'll pinch hit for Bell, who is a tough luck pitcher today. 4 runs, only one of them earned. And Sexton sends a drive down the right field line. That'll reach the seats, and he's quickly behind 2 strikes. 5 hits for Bell. 3 walks for Bell. He struck out 2. Sexton, the first man off the Cincinnati bench, and Larry Lubers will come on to work the Cubs' 6th. 4-0. Cubs have the lead. 9 straight Reds have been retired by Kevin Tapani. And that one had him jammed. It's popped into straightaway center field, and Buford makes the play. 10 up, 10 down for Tapani.
Even the fly balls the Reds are hitting don't have a whole lot on them, so you can tell that Kevin Tapani has pinpoint control. He's moving the ball in and out, changing speeds, and as he's done in most of his recent starts, he's just handcuffed the Reds.
And here is Steins. Steins is 0 for 2. He's bounced to third and popped to first. And a quick strike. It's 0-1. Either the Cubs or the Reds trying to make one of the great comebacks in this division in a bid for postseason play. Since 1951, the Yankees have the biggest deficit overcome to make it to the postseason. That was 14 games. They trailed the Red Sox in 1978. The Giants in 51 trailed the Dodgers by 13. The Mariners trailed the Angels by 13 in 1995. And the Mets in 1973 trailed the Cubs by 12.5 games and came back to win the division. So it isn't impossible.
Not unprecedented, but a very difficult task. However, the best record in baseball since the All-Star break belongs to the team wearing the pinstripes with the blue hats today, and that is the Cubs. They're playing .667 baseball, 18-9. And despite where they are in the standings, it is a very confident team right now.
2 balls, 2 strikes. You finally have Tapani pitching in some luck. He's created a lot of his own luck. He's got his record at 8-8. John Lieber's emerged as the staff ace. Ruben Quevedo has turned in 3 terrific outings since coming back from AAA. As that one's chopped toward the hole. Gutierrez, quick flip to first, and no chance to get Steins. So it's an infield hit that snaps the 10-in-a-row string. That's the 3rd Red safety of the day.
Steins hustling all the way, realizing that Ricky would not have any time to catch it, plant, and throw. Has to throw on the run, and even if Mark Grace comes up with his short hop, Steins is going to be safe at first base. So it goes as the 3rd single of the day. And Steins aboard with just an out here in the 6th. You see Steins hustling all the way. And he's been terrific since taking over for Aaron Boone, who's lost for the season for these Reds.
That is a big loss for Cincinnati as Larkin takes a ball. Larry popped to left and grounded out to second.
I think Larry Luber's coming into this one. And he's got the advantage of the wind blowing in, but a tough day for Bell.
High fly to right. Sosa on the run. Slowing as he nears that wall. Leaps up and can't corral the baseball.
Well, the wind was taking that away from him, and Sammy concentrating, but as you can see, wind blowing straight in just pushed that ball well into foul territory. This ball was well fair when it took off. And not much of a chance there.
And Sammy, the happiest person in the ballpark, but there's a pad on that wall at the moment. 1-1 to Larkin.
No padding under the ivy, however.
No.
So when you go up into the outfield wall, you do so at your own risk.
Ivy's starting to change color a bit. Autumn, unfortunately, not that far away. Starting to turn just a bit. You see the lush dark green spots of the ivy starting to lighten elsewhere on the outfield walls here. Pete Toma reminds us that the Bears have a preseason football game here in Chicago tomorrow. Yes, indeed. Heading down the stretch in the year 2000. And Larkin has a 2-2 count now. Away. Full count, 3-2. As Stein's moving. He's only 1 for 2 in steals this year.
Larkin's grounded into 9 double plays.
(3-2), not moving. The pitch popped up, and it's out of play. Of course, the trading deadline has come and gone. Our team's still able to make some moves. If the players clear waivers or any trades made today. There's one. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Larkin, he's down. Went fishing, swung at ball 4, and Tapani has a big second out.
You don't see this very often, but it's an excellent pitch. Larkin just gets a piece of it, sticks in the glove of Joe Girardi. And Larkin down on strikes for just the 28th time from the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera. We'll take a look at a rare strikeout. And there is the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera high atop Wrigley Field.
The Yankees finally lose a player from their roster. They trade Wilson Delgado to Kansas City for a minor leaguer. Dave Holland signed to a minor league contract by Cleveland today. Here's Jr. 0 for 2. And with an error that he should not have been charged, but had to be, for he's the only man that touched the ball. The fly that Eric Young hit in right center field. Bichette slicing in front, pulled up at the very last second. It handcuffed Griffey. A walk-in homer later, the Reds found themselves down 4 runs. And a weak roller toward the right side. EY, he drops the ball. So Eric Young with a lapse in concentration. So 2 are on, 2 are out.
That was a play that could have been made by either Gutierrez, who was on the first base side of second, or Eric Young. And it looks like a relatively easy play. But you're right, Chip, just a lapse in concentration. And it costs Young error number 12. And gives another life to Dante Bichette. So the Cubs will give them 4 outs as in it.
Really rip it. In fact, Bichette, 81 RBIs against the Cubs in his career. That's most against any opponent of Dante Bichette. And he pops it up again. This time Ricky Gutierrez will battle the high sky. Drips back, makes the play. Bichette swings at the first pitch. How about that? Reds strand 2 in the 6th, and they're still being shut out.
Uniroyal tires with nail guard seal most tread punctures instantly, permanently, and repeatedly. Nail guard tires, only from Uniroyal.
Only one can be the best. To get there takes strength, speed, and endurance.
One athlete's foot medicine has it all. Lamisil AT.
Strength.
Full prescription strength to stop the itching and burning.
Speed.
These take 4 weeks of treatment. Lamisil AT cures it with just one. 3 months later, you're still athlete's foot free.
Game over.
The official athlete's foot treatment of the NBA, Lamisil AT. The best way to cure athlete's foot.
Whether you drive a car, truck, van, or SUV, Pep Boys has your battery. The new Pro Start Plus. Just $39.99 for most vehicles on the road. Single price batteries at Pep Boys. One more reason cars like us, people love us.
Charles Bronson, top gun in the Secret Service. When somebody puts out a contract on the president's wife,
$1 million is a lot of money for near misses.
Charles Bronson is the First Lady's last resort.
Somebody just tried to kill you.
Jill Ireland, Charles Bronson.
Has it ever occurred to you the president might be the one who wants you dead?
Assassination. Tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on WGN.
Come to television this fall. On the web now.
Coming this fall to WGN.
The night is all his. John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever.
Saturday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on WGN.
Cubs by 4 as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, and here's how it happened. Bichette and Griffey got crossed up. Sosa unloads with number 36. And into the teeth of the wind, that 3-run homer gave the Cubs a big, big margin. The Cubs have won 10 of their last 13 have been putting together a consistent offense in this ballpark.
Well, they've been doing it mostly with pitching. As you can see, they haven't overpowered too many of the opponents. But they've held them down as the wind has been blowing in most of the time, and Larry Lubers comes into this one. Trying to keep it at a 4-run deficit. So Lubers comes on for the 5th time since being recalled from the minor leagues. 0-1 ERA, .463.
Lubers had a rough outing Saturday. He came into the Reds-Marlins game in a 5-5 tie in extra innings. Allowed 3 runs. In a game that snapped the 5-5 tie, a game that was won by the Marlins 10-5. Florida had a 5-1 road trip. Rondell grounds out second, and that's out number 1 in the Cubs' 6th inning. Damon Buford the batter. Before he does, let's pause quickly for station identification.
This is WGN, entertaining America.
Steve Stone, Chip Carey from beautiful Wrigley Field. It's 4 o'clock Central Time, and the Cubs have a 4-run lead. Damon is 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk. Lubers came up when Nagel was traded to the Yankees, went 7-6 in 17 starts at Louisville. And had a real good game down there on May the 14th. Had a 7-inning no-hitter against Charlotte. Ripped into left field for a base hit. 6th Cub hit. Don't forget the Cubs convention. February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the beautiful Chicago Hilton and Towers. You can call for room reservations directly, 312-922-4400. You can call the Cubs for more information as well. And folks, that is always a very popular event. Rooms go quickly, tickets go quickly. And I know Steve will be there. I'll be there as well. We're always looking forward to seen the great Cub fans in what is always a wonderful way to start the baseball season here in Chicago.
And this year, Sammy Sosa is going to be there. So tickets go very quickly, folks. Get them well in advance.
Girardi 0 for 2. Wind still blowing very briskly. Just a delightful day for baseball. And the Cubs trying to strike the first blow in this big showdown this week in the Central Division. 0-1. Popped back toward us and overhead by Girardi. It's 0-2. Better have your life preserver on if you're heading out in the sailboat. Our senior producer and director Arnie Harris has a boat called Little Arnie that he's going to be taking out to the lake after the game today. The 0-2 pitch. Runner starts, then stops. It skips up, and how did LaRue stop that ball? Wow, terrific play by the Cincinnati catcher.
There's a young man trying to adjust his seat as LaRue does a nice job of stopping this one. It bounced in front of home plate, hit high off the chest protector. And just a terrific play. Otherwise, Buford is in scoring position.
1 ball, 2 strikes. We are in the Cubs' 6th. Runner is going, swing and a miss. The throw to the third base side of the bag, but still in plenty of time to get Damon Buford. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. Takes care of the Cubs in the 6th. We go now to the 7th with the Reds still looking to score.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN is brought to you by Pepsi, the joy of cola.
Heard you alone. I'm hitting you off right now.
Pepsi. Well, when I got hurt and missed work, glad I had supplemental insurance.
Supplemental insurance? What's that?
Aflac. Well, even best insurance doesn't give you cash to cover things like lost pay, other expenses. This does.
What does? Aflac.
Shouldn't ask about it at work.
Really? And what's it called?
Aflac!
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Aflac.
Are you ready to see yourself as others see you?
I didn't know I was so gray.
Now escape that old gray look with new Just for Men. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. Just for Men shampoos away gray in 5 easy minutes and now has vitamins. It brings back a thicker, healthier look that's completely natural.
I like what I see.
Just for Men. More than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator.
Turn to our tales of scary fun. After all, there's a little monster in everyone.
Saturday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central on WGN.
Well, here's mighty Sean Casey. He's set to go in the Cincinnati 7th inning. Casey hasn't been so mighty today. 0 for 2 for the Reds. But every time you see this kid, Steve, you just can't help but get a smile on your face. In this era of professional sports where people want to treat the games with so much cynicism, here's a guy that really truly does have an aw-shucks attitude toward the game of baseball and toward the good fortune that he has been blessed to have playing for the Reds.
And a tremendous amount of enthusiasm that he brings to the park on a daily basis. He came through the Cleveland Indians organization. But when they couldn't live without John Smiley, Sean Casey was the price that John Hart had to pay, and it turned out to be a pretty big price.
And guess who is in the booth as Casey sprays that one foul?
Getting ready to.
Our 7th inning guest, the coach, Ron Santo. You can tell he's making a TV appearance. He wore
got the shades
clean
on
shirt.
today.
He's got the Joe Cool shades going. Come on down, Ronnie. Don't be shy. And he's got a big smile on his face, too, because the Cubs are leading by a 4-0 score, and Casey buckled as that pitch missed him inside.
We have
2
to
balls, 2 strikes.
Truly appreciate the job of Kevin Tapani today as he's held these Reds completely in check. Just 3 harmless singles to this point.
High fly ball belted down the left field line, but that's going to sail into the seats. And Ronnie, we'll get the interrogation over with before you sing.
That'll be nice.
Now, you are obviously loving the way this Cub team, as we all are. This has been a great run of baseball.
This has been unbelievable. I've never seen a team, you know, I've played on teams where you're 10, 15 games under, you usually go south, but this ball club turned around. 18 games under 500, 13 and a half out, and they've been playing baseball, the best baseball I've seen in a long time. And of course, pitching dictates how.
And I know how hard that was for you to say with my partner.
Oh, I know that. I know that. How about that home run that Sammy hit? Into this scale.
Well, he hit it 430 feet, Ronnie, and there was no doubt about it.
That's a rainmaker toward the stands on the left side. Houston runs out of
You
it.
know, Ronnie, that was a case of Sammy remembering what Bell did the first time up. When he got inside on him off the plate, got him to ground into the double play. When he went back in there again, Sammy brought the hands in, got the head of the bat, and was able to hit it a mile despite a 13, 14 mile an hour wind blowing straight in.
You know what, I was surprised, and I said the same thing, Steve, that he was looking for that pitch. You don't get your head of the bat out there unless you're looking for something inside with velocity of 92, and he took it out, and it was a majestic type home run that normally the wind would grab that ball. It had nothing to say to it.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Sean Casey. Cubs leading the Reds by a 4-0 score. The pitch.
How big a factor was coming back in extra innings and beating the Dodgers when it looked like twice the Cubs were going to give that one away?
Well, you know, when Green hit that double in the ninth, I thought it was over. And then when they had runners at first and third, nobody out, I thought it was over.
Now,
then the bases loaded with Sheffield, I thought it was over.
Back up the middle. Young to his right. Dive. Knocks it down. Can he throw him out? No such luck. And a great play just to get to that ball. You know, so many Cubs fans there are so many different theories as to why this team is playing much better baseball as you get a look at the great play by Eric Young up the middle. Certainly the defense has been great. The pitching has been great. Rick Aguilera has been super in a closer's role for this club. But we have talked privately, maybe the biggest move of all was the move that the Cubs didn't make, and that's trading Sammy Sosa. The Yankees, the Cubs, Sammy all looked over the abyss, saw their toes sticking over the edge, and said, wait a minute, let's think this thing out. And it's worked out very well for all parties concerned.
No doubt in my mind. First of all, Chip and Sony, you know that I was completely against that of Sammy leaving this ball club. A man 31 years old, you build around this man. This man puts up numbers that nobody else can. And the last couple of years, what he's done for baseball is unbelievable. But you're exactly right, Chip. It's a trade that was never made that made this ball club. I think the change is early to the bullpen. Don't you feel that way, Steve?
Oh, it's a huge difference because quite obviously you weren't going anywhere with the bullpen and the configuration of the early season bullpen, but with the addition of Worrell and Van Poppel, Steve Rain coming on, and Rick Aguilera throwing much better from the right side, which used to be a liability. Now it's become a plus for the Cubs.
Now here's a golden opportunity for you to get back at my grandfather. For all those years down in St. Louis at a time like this, what would he used to say when the Cardinals would be playing well this time of year?
The Cardinals are, it would be, the Cubbies are coming, tra-la-la-la. That's what it used to say when I was a player. I was sitting in the dugout after a ball game getting beat by the Cardinals and listening to the post game, and that's the last words that Harry said. You know, and we were like 7 games in front of the Cardinals.
Dimitri Young goes down on strikes. There's out number 1 in the Cincinnati 7th. Now that didn't affect a guy like you who's so well-tempered, even-mannered, doesn't get too high, too low, things like that.
I couldn't believe that, but he was the best. We sure miss him, I'll tell you.
Tapani strikes out his 5th man. There's one away for Pokey Reese.
There's a man who's seen just about everything there is to see in this game, and that's Jack McKeon. He's been a GM, he's been a manager, he's been a scout, he's done it all.
And Kevin gets ahead with a quick strike 1.
Were you kind of surprised about the fact, Steve, that this ball club, Cincinnati, in 2nd place, that they would trade away a guy like Nagel at that particular time?
Well, at the time, Ronnie, they were a more distant second than they are right now. And the Cardinals were playing pretty good baseball, and Mark McGwire was not hurt yet. So they figured they probably weren't going to catch him. They didn't want Nagel walking out the door and getting nothing for him. And so they made the deal. Quite obviously, would they like to have him back right now? Well, you know, of course, that they would. But there's a look at one of the good stories of the game, Mark Wohlers. Talk about a guy who was on the verge and looking over the abyss. Mark Wohlers, they found out that it wasn't as much in his head as in his arm, and he had arm surgery, and now he's back throwing the ball pretty well.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Pokey Reese. High pop-up. Let's see what the wind does to this one. Mark Grace battles the high sky and the breeze, puts it away, 2 men down.
You know, another big factor with the Cubs has been the weather here in Wrigley Field. In July, wind blowing in. I've never seen it blowing in as much as it has. I think it's an advantage because Sammy's one of the few players who can take the ball out of the ballpark. So in any ballpark, but especially in Wrigley Field, with the wind blowing in. And look at today.
Well, if you look at the last 4-2 homestand and the game today, you'll realize that the pitchers have dominated, Ronnie. They dominated because it's a different park with the wind blowing in.
LaRue swings and misses.
And if you have John Lever on the mound and you have Kevin Tapani on the mound, you're not going to walk too many guys. And so if you make the opposition hit their way on with the wind blowing straight in, that's a huge advantage.
Well, it's such an advantage. I remember when our clubhouse was down at the end of left field, and pitchers that were pitching that day would come out and look how the wind was blowing. Very intimidating. I think it was intimidating for the visiting ball club also.
1 ball, 1 strike to LaRue. He has an infield hit today. The Reds have 4 in total. And there's a high fly ball hammered left center field, pretty deep. But Mother Nature's going to take care of that one. So's Damon Buford. And Ron Santo navigates a scoreless top of the 7th. And here he is to sing our 7th inning stretch.
Take me out to the ball game is and broadcaster Ron Santo.
This is for Harry and for all you wonderful fans. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball. Take me out to the ground. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jam. I don't care if we ever come back, for it's road for the hobby. If they know when it's a shame, for it's at the old ball game. Let's get some run.
Eyes of a puppy dog, lips made for sin. You're not dreaming, I'm for real. We got a call.
Hello.
Louis?
Yeah?
Hi, Louis.
Want to get away? Now you can. Fly Southwest Airlines from Chicago Midway to St. Louis for $30 each way when you purchase by August 31st and travel September 1st through October 1st.
You are now free to move about the country.
Briefcase.
Need new tires? Our 70,000-mile Futuras are 4 for $169. Pep Boys, one more reason cars like us, people love us.
Hey, Tim. Does this look like a hex nut to you?
Need expert advice? All-wheel alignment now just $34.88. Pep Boys, one more reason cars like us, people love us.
Chuck Norris, back in black. Delta Force 2.
Saturday at 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central on WGN.
Clear skies overhead. Cubs lead the Reds by 4. And Mark Wohlers becomes the third Cincinnati pitcher. Before we tell you about him, one more quick note. We didn't have a chance to get into it with Ronnie, but his new restaurant is opening up. Ron Santo, number 10 Rotisserie Chicken Restaurant, opening up in Libertyville today. And we wish Ronnie all the best in that venture, and we wish the Cubs all the best against the hard-throwing right-hander Mark Wohlers. Jeff Houston faces him, and Jeff 0 for 2 today, ahead in the count 1-0.
Wohlers on for the 8th time. 7 walks, 7 Ks in 10 in the 3rd inning.
He still gets it up there in real good shape. But after having some elbow surgery, having that stint where he could not find the strike zone, as you said, Steve, and you're right, Cincinnati found out the problem wasn't mental, but it was physical. And now they hope to reap the rewards. Jim Bowden has really been a riverboat gambler in that regard. Just 3 names off the top of your head: Ron Gant, Mark Wohlers, and Jason Beret are all guys who are coming off injuries that the Reds have helped to rehabilitate, not just for Cincinnati, but for other major league teams.
Well, there was a time when Mark Wohlers was absolutely dominating for the Atlanta Braves.
Houston rolls that toward Reese at second. And Loki takes his time, and Houston 0 for 3 with 3 groundouts to second today. And Kevin Tapani should receive a big ovation, and he will. He's pitched to Dandy.
He's limited to these Cincinnati Reds to just 4 harmless singles. And he's been in command from the 1st inning through the 7th inning. And as is Kevin's history, he will get you to the 8th at a minimum.
Wohlers misses inside with ball 1. We want to wish a happy 2nd birthday to Theo Hellman, son of fine Cubs clubhouse man Tom Hellman. Wohlers thrown away, and Tapani's aboard with 1 out.
Well, the first part of this play, stopping it, is pretty good. And if Wohlers just took his time, he'd have gotten Tapani out. It's hit awfully hard. But now Wohlers does have some time. But he throws it right into the ground, and he had Tapani by plenty. Tap wasn't even hustling down the line. It goes as an error on Wohlers.
So that's the 2nd Cincinnati error of the day, and we'll see if the Cubs can cash it in here in our 7th inning. The last error was on Griffey, and it ended up for the Cubs turning out for a 3-run 5th, capped by the Sosa 3-run homer. And EY takes a quick strike. Eric 0 for 2, 2 steals, 1 walk. He reached on that Griffey error, and you missed home run number 36. And RBIs 103, 4, and 5 for Sosa.
And considering the conditions and the winds blowing straight in today, it was a bomb. Measured 430 feet.
A ball and a strike. Way upstairs, 2-1. Stony, all of us with the Cubs, and WGN want to offer our condolences to the family of Ed Stark, the Cubs clubhouse security attendant. Ed passed away this morning quite unexpectedly. Ed had been a fixture here at Wrigley Field for many, many years, and he will certainly be missed. Three balls, one strike. And ball four. So Wohlers compounds his mistake. Walks the next man, Eric Young. 2 on, 1 out. And Ricky Gutierrez, who's been on base all 3 times he's been up today. Two for two is Ricky. He's scored one of the Cubs 4 today, and he looks at a blazing strike one. Look out, folks. A bullet hit to the seats on a check swing. Wow.
We'll have to hope that everybody is okay. That one went back there in a hurry.
I heard that ball hit someone or something very hard down there. Nothing and 2. And that's outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The other baseball later on today. The Giants are in New York to play the Mets. The Mets have trimmed Atlanta's lead. Only 2.5 games in the National League East. Arizona will be in Pittsburgh. The Diamondbacks find themselves 3 games out, and the Heat's rising on Buck Showalter apparently in the desert. That pops away, but no advance by Tapani or by Young. Cardinals, as you know, are in Milwaukee. The Dodgers, who've lost 3 straight series, play in Atlanta tonight. The Dodgers are 5.5 games out of first place. Atlanta with the best record in baseball. Houston will be in Philadelphia tonight. 2 on, 1 out in the bottom half of our 7th inning. Cubs leading by a 4-0 score. Inside corner, strike 3 call. Ricky didn't like it, but he'll have a seat for the first time today, and now Sammy comes to the plate.
They wanted it inside. That's where Wohlers got it. And looked like it might have been down and in.
Right fielder, Sammy Sosa.
So our senior producer director today in his 37th year is Artie Harris. Cubs baseball produced by Pete Toma. Mark Brady is our associate producer. Our executive producer of WGN Sports is Bob Forwall. Sosa with 2 on and 2 out. Looks at strike 1. No balls, 1 strike. Good low. Sosa, since 1993, 335 home runs.
6 straight years of 100 runs batted in or more. First time it's ever been done by a Chicago Cub.
And since 93, only Albert Bell has driven home more runs than Sosa. He has 975. Sosa with 904. Leapfrogged past Ken Griffey Jr. with that 3-run homer today. 1-1. Home run cut, and he missed it 1-2. Daniel Garibay is going tomorrow for the Cubs. Scott Williamson will start for Cincinnati, and he's been doing that a lot of late. Trade of Nagel dropped him back into the starting rotation. 1-2. Just missed. For those of you holding tickets for that game tomorrow, note the start time. First pitch around 12:15 Central Time. So Saturday a 12:15 game. Sunday a night game, 7:05. It'll be carried by ESPN. And then we're back here Monday night on WGN for Game 1 of the Cubs-Cardinals series. Wohlers back to work. The 2-2 pitch with 2 outs to Sammy. Ooh, just missed. Wohlers thought he had him struck out. Now the runners will be moving with 2 outs. A gapper might score 2. The Cubs already lead it by 4 as we play on here. The runners move. The pitch cut on and missed. Sosa down on strikes. Wohlers has 2 of those, and he escapes a mess of his own making. We go to the 8th inning. Cubs leading 4-0.
This fall, the search for intelligent life begins.
And how many inches in a yard?
12.
You think 12 inches in a yard? Then we're dating. What does the NAACP stand for? They're gonna stone me in when I go home. If you're handling a woman's parasol, what are you doing?
Grabbing her breath.
How do you perform origami?
My girl performs that pretty well.
Can you name a famous Minuteman?
Yeah, my last boyfriend.
Street Smarts, coming this fall.
Coming this fall to WGN.
Can Imodium really change your life? Well, you might still find yourself stuck in the bathroom or having one of those days when you just can't leave the house. Imodium AD safely, gently relieves diarrhea, often in just 1 dose. Restore yourself.
I can tell by looking whether a vehicle's been driven hard or not. This guy's one of my regular customers. Scorched brake rotors, beat up oil pan, probably never takes his foot off the gas. He trusts me to make sure it performs, and I trust CarQuest Auto Parts. I mean, you never know. Someday you might need to give me a ride.
CarQuest for quality Auto-Lite spark plugs. The key to sure starts and smooth running engines. That's why pros turn to Auto-Lite spark plugs. CarQuest, the professional choice.
Who's asking about Viagra? Someone you might expect, and also someone that maybe you wouldn't. In fact, you may be surprised at who's talking to their doctors about Viagra. So ask your doctor if a free trial of Viagra is right for you. Who's asking about Viagra? Maybe it should be you.
The Big Ticket Movies, 7 nights a week on WGN.
Here's our upcoming Cubs schedule. 2 more with the Reds, then the Red Birds are in town, and it's brought to you by the new Pepsi AC Chewables. Note those changing start times. Sunday night, 7:05 game. Monday night here on WGN. Tuesday afternoon at 1:20. Wednesday afternoon the same. Then it's off to Arizona and to Houston. Kevin Tapani continuing to keep the ball in the ballpark and continuing to pitch great baseball for the Cubs. You can't do much better than what he has thrown. Just 1 run in 20 innings and a third.
Alex Ochoa comes on to pinch hit. He hasn't done much in that capacity this year.
And he takes a ball, 1-0 your count. Tapani falls behind rarely. 2 balls, no strikes. Ochoa started last Wednesday, had 3 hits, 3 RBIs. And just fell a homer shy of hitting for the cycle against the Braves. And That one a bullet into center field. 5th Cincinnati hit and leadoff safety for the Reds in the 8th inning. Taffany spent a lot of time on the base paths in that 7th inning. And with that in mind, there's rain in the forecast. Steve is up down the left field line.
Danny Graves, the closer of this Cincinnati team, throwing in the bullpen. Taps at the 112 pitch mark.
No balls, 1 strike. Inside to Steins. Steins 1 for 3. Base hit in the 6th inning.
Steins runs pretty well. He's only grounded into 3 double plays this year.
Outside, ball 2. Visibility starting to become a factor now as you look closely at home plate. The grandstand shadow starting to creep toward the batter's box. Pulled toward the hole and through for a hit. 2 are on, none are out. And again, despite the cool temperatures, Taffany was out in that bright sunshine rather than resting in the dugout during that long 7th inning. Pitch count approaching 115 and the heart of this red order coming up. Mr. Rain might want to get busy in a hurry. Don Baylor is going to pop out. And we'll see if Kevin's all right here. Dave Tumbas joins him.
Anytime you see Dave Tumbas going out there, it's not a good sign. That's going to be it for Kevin Taffany. And so if it is indeed due to injury, Steve Rain will have as much time as he wants to loosen up.
Well, this is the last thing the Cubs need, quite obviously. With Kerry Wood still disabled, the Cubs are really a couple of pitchers short. And if you lose Kevin Taffany for any stretch of time, we're going to have a real problem. Hopefully he'll be okay. He's giving his teammates the high five. Let's just hope it was the high pitch count, nothing else. We'll find out hopefully soon. We do know Steve Rain's coming on to pitch, and we'll tell you about his year right after this.
I need you to find these people now.
Okay, boys, release the hounds.
Someone's been here.
Searching for someone at your car insurance company after dark? At Geico Direct, we're here 24 hours a day. In fact, one 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The job may be temporary.
We're going to use replacement players.
But the glory
I'm okay.
will last a lifetime.
They should be fun to watch.
Keanu Reeves, Gene Hackman. The Replacements.
Man, why you play that dumb song?
Rated PG-13. Now playing at a theater near you.
My name's Bob.
Tim.
Karen.
I'm quitting smoking.
With Nicorette.
Nicorette gives me 2 ways to help control my cravings.
First, I help prevent them.
You see, I set myself up on a regular schedule. 6 pieces a day.
9.
12.
Do you know when you just get that craving anyway? Late for a gig, rough crowd. I take another piece to help take control.
And now, after smoking for 20 years,
I'm finally going to make it.
I'm sticking with it.
I'm going to do it.
You can do it. Nicorette can help.
Well, don't know if that's an encouraging sign or not. Kevin has not yet gone back to the trainer's room after coming out of the ball game.
It was surprising when Dave Tumbas came out to have a word with him. And we'll see. Steve Rain is given just his 8 pitches, and so maybe Kevin Taffany, and we're hoping that he is okay, and now the bullpen continues to work. It's Felix Heredia now throwing in the pen for the Cubs.
And one of our crew members tells us that Kevin was saying his foot was bothering him while he was running the bases. So that might have obviously been a factor in the decision. Better his foot than his arm. Believe me. Here's Larkin. 2 on, none out. And here's where you fear Barry Larkin. This guy has always killed Cub pitching. And he takes the ball. And you've got Griffey waiting next, and that's why Felix Heredia is up right now. The Cubs have a 4-run lead, but 2 are on, none are out.
You got Griffey, but then you have the right-handed Bichette before the left-handed Casey.
Larkin swings right through it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Larkin, Griffey, and Bichette are 0 for 9 today. A little ground ball hit toward Houston. Jeff makes the throw to first in time. Larkin advances the base runners 90 feet. There's out number 1. And now here's Griffey.
Well, being the veteran he is, Jeff Houston knows you've got a 4-run lead. You take the out that's given you. You don't worry about the 2 base runners that move to second and third. Houston only has the 1 play, and he makes it.
So here's Jr. He's 0 for 3. Griffey with 33 home runs. And that one bounces in. Or dances down and in. 9-game hitting streak on the line for Griffey, which is 2 games shy of his season high of 11 that took place for him in middle to late June.
And they still put the shift on him. Ricky Gutierrez still over on the first base side of second.
Ricocheted off Girardi, and that stung his glove hand.
Been a tough week for Joe Girardi. That got the heel of the glove and jolted him.
Way outside. Ball 2. Reds threatening late. High drive, belted deep toward right. Forget about it. Jr. unloads a 3-run cannon shot. It's a 1-run game. Hit streak for Griffey. 34 homers, 99 RBIs, and now we've got real trouble.
Well, that answers the 3-run Sosa home run and cuts the lead to just 1 lone run. The run picked up in the first inning. As this one looked like a forkball, it was down and out over the plate, and Griffey, even into a tremendous wind, unloads on it. Not much doubt about this one, folks.
And he knew it, man. He had the recoil. And Jr. brings the Reds to within 1. A quick strike. And the baseball soars out into right field. So the Cubs lead trimmed to 1. And Jr. atones for the fielding mistake. He and Bichette collaborated in the 5th. Sosa and Griffey, each with 3-run homers. Line down the left field line. That's into the seats foul. obviously, Sammy not over the hill. Trade to the Yankees. Pitch is low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So close the book on Kevin Tampany. 2 runs in 7+ innings.
Both of them hit 3-run homers today. Sammy is 36th. Junior his 34th.
And 117 Tampany pitches unofficially. A great majority of them for strikes. Now some of the Cincinnati fans start to stir up the crowd. Base is empty, 1 out in the 8th. And Bichette went around, can't believe it. There's out number 2. And he's got a parting shot for Jerry Meals, and now the umpire wisely just walks away. It's a new load of baseballs, and there's out number 2.
This looked like a forkball down and out of the zone. And Bichette thought he checked his swing. Joe Girardi wisely puts the tag on him. And Jerry Meals doesn't even ask for the appeal. He just said you swung.
I think Dante said fiddlesticks right there. Here's Casey, an infield hit his last time up. He too with great power, but still hasn't, I don't think, completely come back from that fractured thumb. 8 homers, 40 driven in. The big story, Sosa and Griffey each have unloaded, and the bigger story, it's now a 1-run game late.
He had switch hitting Dimitri Young in the on-deck circle. He's a much better hitter from the right side.
That one cracked toward right center field. Buford got a good jump, can't get to it in time. Casey singles with 2 out. So, decision time for Don Baylor.
Steve Rain doesn't have too much out there today, and Casey takes advantage of it with his second single. And the question for Don Baylor is, do you go to Worrell? You're not going to go to Heredia. You don't want to turn Young around and let him hit from the right side. Brian Hunter comes on to pinch run, and he has tremendous speed. So the day is done for Sean Casey, and he'll leave today 2 for 4. Keep your eye on Hunter. He can go get him on the base path.
Only his second game with the Reds since being acquired on August the 6th. He's made 1 start with Cincinnati and went 0 for 3. Hunter played the bulk of the year with the Rockies. And Bryant stole 15, was caught just 3 times. You know, Rick Aguilera thinking about the 9th inning today. 3 in, 1 on, 2 outs, and there's a bullet hit deep toward right. Sosa on the run. He will watch it go into the basket. Line drive, home run, and the Reds have the lead.
Well, that's called hitting it under radar. A line drive that got about fence high. 14th home run for Dimitri Young. He's now driven in 63 in what has turned into a nightmarish 8th inning. The Reds came in 4 down. Kevin Tampany sailing right along. Steve Rain has given up a 3-run homer, now a 2-run homer. And the Reds have the lead.
Here's Pokey Reese. So you talk about turnaround kind of games. How about this one for Cincinnati? They were getting whitewashed by Kevin Tampany. Now Pokey Reese sends a drive deep to left. That ball is gone. And somebody ought to put a fork in that forkball. Rain has given up 3 home runs.
Well, you would think that Don Baylor might want to make a change.
Rain goes 2/3 of an inning. gives up 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 home runs, struck a man out, didn't walk anybody. And what has turned out to be the most important game of the year to this point, momentum-wise, has turned out to be that for Cincinnati. They've scored 6 in the 8th. They've chased Steve Rain, and all Kevin Tapani and the Cubs can do at this point is wonder what could have been. Still more baseball to play, however, but the Reds lead by 2.
This is hot. President Ford just pardoned Nixon.
For Watergate?
Yeah.
This will make the show.
That new guy, Elvis, was on TV last night.
Good one.
I just heard this new song called The Star-Spangled Banner.
That's nice, Wayne, but it was composed almost 200 years ago.
Da, 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 da. This is going to be a really big hit, don't you think?
Well, when I got hurt in this work, thought I had supplemental insurance.
Supplemental insurance? What's that?
Aflac. Well, even best insurance doesn't give you cash to cover things like lost pay, other expenses. This does.
What does?
Aflac. Shouldn't ask about it at work.
Really? And what's it called?
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Aflac.
The zero-pressure Michelin. So revolutionary it won't go flat, even with the puncture the size of a golf ball, letting you drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour. Just what you'd expect from Michelin.
Cincinnati has exploded with a 6-run 8th inning. Goose eggs for Kevin Tapani before he runs out of gas in the 8th. But 3 home runs hit by the Reds give them the lead, and now Tim Morrell, our 3rd pitcher of the inning.
Morrell on for the 31st time, a 2-3 record, a 2.70 ERA. And a tremendous amount of damage done here in the 8th inning.
Well, this Cub team, which scratched and clawed its way back from Los Angeles, is going to have to scratch and claw its way back in this one against a very good Cincinnati bullpen. And you have to think about the man at the end, Danny Graves, who has 18 saves for Cincinnati, and Jack McKeon is not shy about letting those guys go more than 1 inning in that closer role. A high fly ball hit by LaRue to right. Sammy is under it. He's got it. And that disastrous 8th inning is in the books. Ken Griffey Jr., a 3-run shot. Dimitri Young, a 2-run blast. Pokey Reese, a back-to-back solo home run. And Cincinnati scores 6 in the 8th, and the Cubs have their work cut out for them.
Introducing Twist and Fill from Twizzlers. Watermelon outside, cherry goo inside.
Briefcase.
Need new tires? Our 35,000-mile tires are 4 for just 99 bucks. Pep Boys, one more reason cars like us, people love us.
I registered my vision.
I registered my cause.
I registered my family.
Visit register.com or call 1-800-5WWW-NET to register today.
great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
Kid, how many fingers? Hey, Spike.
Meet a single woman who just got back into circulation.
My dry spell is over.
Suddenly Susan. Suddenly 5 days a week.
Coming this fall to WGN.
Tragedy or conspiracy.
To make you the new Synod leader.
Earth, final conflict.
Sunday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central on WGN.
Alex Ochoa stays in the game. He's in left field. Dimitri Young moves from left to first base. And now here is the aforementioned closer of the Reds, right-hander Danny Graves, who tries to pick up number 19 on the year.
Pretty impressive numbers for Graves, and he's going to pick up a save. He's going to have to go 2 innings to get it on for the 48th time. A 10-3 mark. The ERA in the mid-2s.
Well, he's trying to win it for Mark Wohlers. His last win for Wohlers was September 4th of 1997 while he was with Atlanta. And the Cubs, who were leading by 4, find themselves down by 2. And yeah, honesty compels you to tell you that on that Cub road trip, the bullpen did not pitch magnificently. The Cub pen gave up 11 runs in 7 games. They've given up 4 in an inning today. And Grace took one down and into the zone.
Danny Graves, originally from Saigon, Vietnam. Last year in 75 appearances, he saved 27 games. He was a very busy man.
1-2 pitch is low, and right now the visibility very much in favor of the pitcher. The batter's box completely covered by the shade of the grandstand. And Graves pitching out of the shadow of the light tower from the left field grandstand. 2-2. Low to Grace. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Grace, White, and Buford in the Cubs 8th.
Well, you know one thing, that Gracie will not swing at a pitch out of the zone, so he's a good man to lead off the inning.
Ground ball right side. Pokey Reese handles cleanly. 1 out in the Cub 8th. Rondell White will hit. He's 1 for 3 before he faces Graves this afternoon. Let's step aside and tell you what's coming up on WGN.
MacGyver must rescue a pilot being held prisoner in a Central American prison. Catch MacGyver tonight at 11 Eastern on WGN.
Cubs down a pair for Rondell White. And that's downstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. Big problem for the Cubs. '22 blown saves, including today's performance, most in the National League. And clearly, that is going to be target area number 1 for Andy McPhail, Jim Hendry, and the Cubs front office in this offseason coming up, shoring up that bullpen.
Well, there is no doubt that they've got their work cut out for them.
White rolls it foul.
Because over a 162-game schedule, if you've got any problems in that pen on either side, left or right, it's going to come out. And as you can see, blown saves, the Cubs right at the top, and that is a dubious distinction.
That missed high, I suppose. I think Sharon Panazzo just announced that Kevin Tapani left with a strained patellar tendon. Is that the case?
Well, she announced that the 40,586 fans are the largest since 1998.
And that was the case with Kevin Tapani.
Yeah, that's not the greatest news that we've heard. Hopefully Tapp is going to be okay. You can ill afford to lose an innings eater and a bullpen saver like Kevin Tapani. And unfortunately, when he left this one, the game just deteriorated.
2-2 to White. And the breaking ball takes care of him. 2 up, 2 down in the 8th inning. Well, what a huge emotional turnaround in this ball game. Cubs were zipping right along, and Cincinnati has stolen our thunder this afternoon.
Good off-speed breaking ball by Graves. Really split the duties of a closer last year. Scott Williamson was working out of the pen, and Williamson picked up 19 saves. The Reds won 96, and that bullpen was really active. A lot of people felt that Jack McKean was going to burn them out. It didn't work out that way, and they went as far as their bullpen took them, which was all the way to the end before finally dropping one that would have sent them to the playoffs. They lost to the Mets.
And Al Leiter, who threw a gem. And really, for Cincinnati, it came down to if they had played better in a finale series in Milwaukee, they would have been in much better shape. Didn't work out that way. Better team in the end won. That was New York. 2-0. 3-0 to Damon Buford. And he's aboard. So Joe Girardi represents the tying run. Obviously, this game, Stoney, fell apart after Ron Santos sang the 7th inning stretch.
Well, I'm sure he'll be very happy to hear that, as Barry Larkin comes on to talk with Danny Graves. And Willie Green looks like he's starting to loosen up. The importance of sending men to the plate here in the 8th inning is you get closer to perhaps bringing Sammy Sosa up in the 9th inning, which is something, quite obviously, that would be advantageous for the Cubs. Along with Griffey, they both have 3-run homers today.
A 6-run Cincinnati 8th. Ground ball up the middle. Reese has an easy play. He's right at the bag. Girardi is 0 for 4. Cubs got to hold him in the 9th and hope for better times in the bottom half. Cincinnati has stormed back to a 2-run lead.
The Cubs on WGN are brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Log on for Southwest Airlines low fares at www.southwest.com, a symbol of e-freedom.
Flying to the Washington area for business? If these 8 reasons don't convince you to fly Southwest Airlines nonstop to Baltimore, maybe this will. Log on for low fares at www.southwest.com.
You are now free to move about the country.
Once upon a time, nature gave you healthy, beautiful skin. And now, it's giving it to you again with Aveeno Daily Moisturizing Lotion. Aveeno discovered the moisturizing secret of oatmeal. Ground powder fine, then blended into a lotion to hold moisture in for a full 24 hours. So naturally, dermatologists recommend it. Rediscover the skin nature intended you to have. Aveeno. Discover nature's secret for healthy skin.
Briefcase.
Need new tires? Our 70,000-mile Futuras are 4 for $169. Pep Boys, one more reason cars like us, people love us.
Hey, Tim. Does this look like a hex nut to you?
Need expert advice? All-wheel alignment now just $34.88. Pep Boys, one more reason cars like us, people love us.
Her magic turns friend against friend. What have you done? Next Beastmaster, Sunday at 5 Eastern, 4 Central on WGN.
Well, this Sunday, it's Fujifilm Photo Day at the ballpark. The first 5,000 fans attending the Cubs-Reds game with their cameras will have a chance to take photos of some of your favorite Cubs players on the field. It's brought to you by Fujifilm and Walgreens. Cincinnati with a 6-run 8th. As the lead, and Alex Ochoa will lead it off in the 9th inning. Ochoa, then Steins, then Larkin. For the Reds, who try to get back to 500, who try to space themselves a little bit more away from the Cubs. Came in trailing them by just 3 games in the Central Division standings, and apparently a baseball's gotten loose right in the middle of the diamond.
Ochoa, as a pinch hitter, led everything off in that nightmarish 8th inning.
And that breaks over for a strike. Well, it's amazing. You go back to that Dodger game in Los Angeles.
4 home run 4th inning.
Well, the last 4 pinch hitters, that too, but the last 4 pinch hitters have hits against Cub pitching.
You can go a long time before seeing a 4 home run inning and a 3 home run inning within 3 games of one another. And that's been the case.
Amazing. Back into the seats, 0-2. And not to advocate hitting anybody, but nobody brushed back, nobody knocked down, nobody moved off the plate, nobody made to feel the least bit uncomfortable. Times have changed. The 0-2 pitch. That missed inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, they have a real good shot at Danny Graves in the 9th inning. You've got to retire them here and keep them off the board. Because Graves is a pretty tough customer.
Missed inside. Ball 2. Boy, as big a win as that was for the Cubs in L.A., this is a real bitter score to look at right now, and that's rocketed toward the gap in right field. Sosa on the run, can't get it. It one-hops the wall. Ochoa around first, on his way to second, and he'll stop there. He's 2 for 2 after coming in the 8th inning.
I think Ochoa had slowed down a little between first and second, and if he'd have continued to pour it on, he might be standing at third base. This one over the head of Sammy. Buford does a nice job of getting to it, but I think Ochoa might have just lost his momentum, kind of conceding the double. Sammy can't get to it. This is a rocket shot over his head. Buford bobbles the ball somewhat, but Ochoa stays at second base. And now watch. See right there, he just kind of breaks it down. If he doesn't slow down, he's standing at third base. And that's a lesson, all you youngsters, just keep on going. Let your coach do the coaching.
A pop-up, and Joe can't make the play right by the front row.
Yeah, you got to be careful, Joe. That coconut can't take any more abuse.
Tell you what, you will not find more tough players than Joe Girardi, considering what he's playing through today. He wanted to get back in the lineup.
Well, he knows how important this particular homestand, this series, and this game is to the Cubs. So it's tough to keep him out of that lineup. Had the stitches removed, the swelling is down, but that can't be real comfortable after getting hit in the face with a fastball.
Steins has 2 hits. Let's see if he can get the bunt down successfully here. He looks at a ball, 1 strike.
Well, the way everybody's moving in the infield, and on that particular defense, Houston was charging, Gutierrez was going to third, Grace was charging, and Ely was going to first. You got a 2-run lead already. I'm Jack McKeon. I let him pull the bat back and swing away.
Kickoff play at second. Pulls play, and Ochoa's just back in time.
He didn't make it by much. With Travis Katzenmeyer on the call. Good execution by the Cubs, and maybe if this one's on the third base side of second, they get him. But Ely hits the bag first with the tag, and I think that allowed Ochoa to get back in.
1 ball, 1 strike. He offered. Strike 2 is the call. In the ninth inning of Worrell's last appearance, the circumstances were very, very similar. First man he faced led off the ninth with a double. But of course, he was able to pitch out of that ninth inning. Cubs won the game in 10. Here Ochoa is aboard with a two-base hit. As the Reds defense, the Reds bullpen, and the Reds big sluggers made Jack McKeon look like a genius in this ball game so far, and Steins missed an extra base hit by a couple of inches.
Larry Young right on the call, and he was standing right there, and that one didn't miss by much. In fact, he's taking a look at just how much it did miss by, and it was probably 2 inches. Cubs get a big break here as Steins goes the opposite way. Larry Young on the call, and it is foul.
So Steins lives to swing again here. 1 and 2. Back out of play. A great Kevin Tapani start wasted by the pen today. Bell pitched pretty well for the Reds. Gave up 4 runs, only 1 of them earned. Neither one of those men figure in the decision. This game belongs to Rain and Wohlers. And that's right down the middle, and Steins is out number 1 in the ninth.
Well, after a good battle, this one ends kind of quietly. A fastball right down the middle. Well, if you get by Larkin, then you can walk Griffey.
Larkin hitless in his return from a knee problem, and he takes a ball. And now Joe Girardi out to talk things over. News out of baseball today. Roger Clemens of the Yankees apparently is on the verge of getting a lucrative contract extension. It reportedly will be made official sometime later today. The New York Daily News reporting the Yankees will sign Clemens to a 3-year, $30 million extension. He's 38 years old. But he's 9-6 with a sub-4 ERA. 1 ball, no strikes. And congratulations to David Cohn, who finally got back into the win column as the Yankees beat the A's. 1 ball, no strikes. Larkin, did he check it? Apparently so. 2-0 your count. Was time called?
Apparently, Jerry Meals acknowledged time at the last moment. And for some reason, they can't get whatever it is they have to get together, as Eli wants to know the sign.
It's out of play to the right side. 2 balls and a strike. Gorgeous Friday afternoon for baseball has turned nightmarish for the Cubs.
Looked a lot better through 7.
Sure did. I mean, they got 6 runs very quickly. 2-1. 2-2.
You would think at this point on the mound, Chip, you would want to work as quickly as possible because you're in the sunlight. The hitter's in the shadows, and you don't know how long it's going to stay that way. And you see the advantage you have as far as visibility is concerned. In about 3 or 4 minutes, it's not going to be like that.
The 2-2 pitch. Roller is out of play. Well, we want to send out congratulations to Bob Uecker, our pal and the voice of the Milwaukee Brewers. A big ceremony honoring him for 30 years behind the microphone in Milwaukee before the Cardinals-Milwaukee game tomorrow afternoon. The 2-2 pitch won't be made. Instead, it's back to second. Two. Again, it's out of play by Barry Larkin. Three and two.
If you don't get Larkin here, then you can't walk Griffey. And that sets up a completely different inning. So this becomes a big pitch for Worrell. Don Baylor, not a happy man right now, as he's seen this one, at least for the moment, slip away.
Well, he's got about 39,000 commiserates. Line drive hit toward right center field. Sosa in the sun makes the catch. And there is out number 2. Good battle, though, by Larkin. Remember, he's just coming back from injury. And keep that at bat in mind as this series plays out between the Cubs and Reds. And here's Griffey, the man that crushed that 3-run homer. We'll see how the Cubs approach him. You have first base open, 2 men out.
I wouldn't think you'd face him at all. I'm not sure what the meeting is going on about with Joe Girardi, but if you got first base open, you might as well just put him aboard and not even worry about it.
And that's what the Cubs will do. Griffey will be intentionally passed. Crowd boos. They want to see Junior swing away. At least the Reds fans in the crowd do. Griffey will be intentionally walked for the 15th time this year. And now you take your chances with Dante Bichette.
You can tell that teams aren't anxious to face Junior with the game on the line. It was 4-0 when Griffey came up against Steve Rain and got what looked like a low fastball and hit a no-doubter. That cut the lead to just 1, and of course there were 2 more homers forthcoming in that 8th inning.
So now it sets up an interesting matchup with Bichette. He's hitless, 0 for 4. Lifetime against the Cub right-hander Tim Worrell. Dante is 3 for 8. That calculates to a .375 batting average. And he nearly got hit. Ball 1. Shadow nearly across the pitching rubber. One ball, no strikes. Activity in the Cincinnati pen. It's been a long top of the 9th.
Well, you've got Danny Graves in the on-deck circle, but a 2-run lead. So it looks like Sullivan loosening up, I believe. That's who it is, Scott Sullivan.
1 ball, no strikes. Nothing personal against Scott Sullivan, but I would not mind at all if Danny Graves gets out of the game. With 18 saves, we'll see what Jack McKeon has in mind. Bichette in the driver's seat. 2 balls, no strikes. The Reds have the late lead. 2-1.
Now the bullpen up and going for the Cubs. And you would think Felix would be up just to combat a left-handed pinch hitter if it's Michael Tucker. That's assuming you don't get Bichette.
Well, let's hope Tim does. 2 balls and a strike. With another swing like that, we'll be in Bat City. 2-2. This ballpark has gone from yippee to blah in about 5 seconds, it seems. Ground ball softly hit right side. Young throw hops, throws to first, and the Cincinnati ninth is in the books. Well, final chance time for the Cubs. We need 2 to tie, 3 to win. 6-4 Reds. Couple of changes for Cincinnati defensively. Juan Castro is in for Larkin at short, and Michael Tucker is in right field for Dante Bichette. And the Cubs will send 2 pinch hitters up here to start off the 9th inning. Brant Brown will bat for Houston. Gary Matthews Jr. will bat for Tim Morrell. Cubs need a pair just to tie. 6-4 Cincinnati the lead. Brant Brown, 1 for 3 lifetime against Danny Graves. Be nice to get a couple of guys on for. You've got Sosa due up 5th, but first pitch swinging is Brown, and that's out number 1 at the bottom of the 9th inning. That was quick. Here's Gary Matthews Jr.
Matthews starting to hit the ball pretty well. And as a pinch hitter, he's done a nice job this year.
Gary's faced Graves once, and he was hitless. Morrell went 1 1/3 innings, 1 hit, 1 intentional walk, 1 strikeout. Gary takes the ball outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Paints the outside corner, and the count is even. The Reds relief pitchers have not given up a run in 10 of their last 12 games. And as usual, they're very busy. They lead the National League in innings pitched. If Graves gets through this one, they'll have pitched 377 2/3 innings.
What's been the MO of Jack McKeon? He doesn't mind going to the bullpen, and he doesn't mind going to it for long stretches.
And he's got interchangeable parts down there. Again, last year it was Williamson and Graves who shared the closer's role. Now that Williamson, tomorrow's starter, has started 6-7 straight games, it's Sullivan joining Graves as the rubber-armed relievers down there. 3-2 the count. Matthews working it full. 3-2 now.
Last year Sullivan appeared in 79 games. This year on pace to do about the same thing. He's appeared in 55.
Payoff pitch. And Matthews just did stay alive. Just got a tiny piece. Sammy getting ready just in case the lineup turns to him late. And the big hitters were big hitters today. Griffey and Sosa each with 3-run home runs. Three-two. Struck him out. 2 down.
Gary thought it was inside, but it tailed back over the inside corner, and he gets rung up.
So Mark Wohlers is 1 out away from his first win in nearly 3 years. Graves in line for his 19th save. Well, let's not give up yet. Here's Eric Young. He's been on base 3 times today. He scored twice and got to 40 steals.
Thinking about bunting his way on, almost ran into that and got hit. And that wouldn't have been a bad thing.
The question is, would they have given him first base if he ran into the baseball? We saw Eric get hit when he leaned his elbow in one time, and they did not award him the bag. That's in for a strike. 1-1 to Young, who's 0 for 2. Cubs will hope for the best here in the ninth. If they can't come through, it'll be a quick rebound tomorrow. Don't forget, a 12:15 start here in Chicago. A little bit low, 2-1. Scott Williamson will pitch for the Reds. Daniel Garibay scheduled to go for the Cubs. The stretch now, the 2-1. Right through there, 2-2. Boy, how big is that play at the plate looking now that went against the Cubs in the third. A bigger play, of course, was the gopher ball. 3 of them hit by Cincinnati in the 8th. 2-2 pitch. He tomahawks that ball towards short. Castro makes the throw to first in time, and the Cincinnati Reds break our hearts. A 6-run 8 wins it 6-4 totals, and the disappointing highlights after this.
Once upon a time, nature gave you healthy, beautiful skin. And now, it's giving it to you again with Aveeno Daily Moisturizing Lotion. Aveeno discovered the moisturizing secret of oatmeal. Ground powder.
With the second of the 3 home runs, this 2-run shot with 2 men out scored Brian Hunter, and the Reds come back to break our hearts. Our next telecast of Cubs baseball on WGN Sports will welcome the Cardinals to town for game 1 of a 3-game set. Join Steve and me Monday night, 7 o'clock, right here at Wrigley. Ken Griffey Jr. and Sammy Sosa each hit 3-run homers, but Young and Reese followed with homers as well for the Reds, and they win game 1 6-4. For Steve Stone and our entire crew, Chip Carey inviting you to stay tuned for the 10th inning show. It's coming up next.
Chicago Cubs baseball on
To the 10th inning show for game apiece. The Reds gain ground on the Cubs in the Central. A frustrating day, and we'll have a final word right after this.
Speaking of going down the